should ratings be used and considered when putting together the college football playoff bracket? Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Cole Bryson. My name is Diesel, and we are live in Greer at Ingles Markets on Locust Hill Road. Come by and see us. We have Ingles gift cards to give away. You want to score one of these? Come by and see us. 1524 Locust Hill Road. Buckeye Mike just swung through. He's helping me out with my Halloween costume this year, Cole, and I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win this thing. I'm telling you, I'm already calling it. I'm going to win.
Dead giveaway. Buckeye Mike, tell them with your Halloween.
I mean, it could be anything, right? I could be dressed
as a giant nut.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't like the way that sounded coming out of my
well,
mouth. I didn't care for that one bit.
I hope you are going to dress up as that. I look forward to it.
Cole, this is not something that we are first reporting by any means. We are not the first to talk about this controversy. It's been out there for a couple of days now. But I want to lead the show with this today, Cole. On Monday, NBC analyst Todd Furman, who has about 136,000 followers, so he's kind of a big deal, in a tweet that's now been seen 7.7 million times, he said that college football parity is great until we get USF versus Georgia Tech in the first round and nobody watches. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm an elitist, but the ratings won't lie.
Huh.
And here's the problem, Cole. As much as I hate to admit it, he's right. He is absolutely right. The games that feature the less desirable teams, the smaller brands, those are not going to get the same kind of ratings when you have big brand versus big brand. But here's the thing, Cole. If we start letting ratings be a determining factor as to whether or not you get into the college football playoff, this entire thing turns into professional wrestling. It's all fake. It's all set up for television, and that's all it will be in perpetuity, and that is not what I want college football to become.
To me, what this feels like, Diesel, is let's go in the past about 15 years. To me, this feels like when you and I and other college football fans, Diesel, who love the sport, we would hear reports about so-and-so was given a bag at a certain university to come to their university. He was seen with a McDonald's bag, and, it didn't look like there was a lot of cash or a lot of French fries in that McDonald's bag. It looked like, Benjamin Franklin's instead of potatoes, right, that have been fried and processed. To me, this feels like, this conversation, this topic, feels like 15 years ago with players being paid under the table. It was already happening, but what do we say all the time? Perception's reality, and the perception was that 15 years ago, 10 years ago, this was a pure sport, and that wasn't happening. It just was not happening. So fans were okay with it. It wasn't a bugaboo. It wasn't an issue. And to me, this story about ratings and dictation, the ratings dictating who's in and who's out of the college football playoff, Diesel, to me, it feels like that exact same situation. What do I mean? It feels like this has already been going. You telling me this is the first of ratings pushing whether teams are getting in or not? Are you kidding me?
Well, now that we've gone to a straight seeding model, it certainly takes us closer and closer down that pathway, right? It sends us in the direction of the best teams could get more consideration, or the biggest brands, let me rephrase that, the biggest brands get the most consideration when it comes time to rank these teams. And all of a sudden, we got to save one for the G5. But outside of that, we're certainly not going to let a second group of 5 team in the college football playoff. And we're going to make sure that doesn't happen via the ratings. Where this whole thing started, Cole, was when ESPN did one of their mock college football playoff structures and one of their mock brackets, and they used the current AP Top 25 to put that together. And what we ended up having, without going through the whole thing, in the first round, you had the 12 seed South Florida against the 5 seed Georgia, Miami Ole Miss being the 9-8 game, BYU Oregon being the 11-6 game, and then Vanderbilt Georgia Tech being the 10-7 game. Just wrap your mind around that for a second. South Florida, Miami, Ole Miss, BYU, Vanderbilt, and Georgia Tech all being in the first round of the college football playoff.
Ratings galore, right?
Yeah, I mean, they would go on to face, as of right now, using the current AP ratings, Alabama, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Indiana, which is another mind blower that we've got Indiana now getting a first round bye in the college football playoff into the quarterfinals. But he's saying, Cole, that if we have South Florida versus Georgia, the ratings would be so bad that nobody's going to tune in to watch. So we need to change the system to make sure that South Florida can't get in.
And again, it goes back to what's the purpose of the college football playoff. Here's the reality of it. And I agree with your point in being upset, but the reality is, Diesel, we've talked about this before, what we as college football fans think is best is simply not why something was designed. So what do I mean? The college football playoff being designed, we think as fans, oh, it was implemented to give more teams an opportunity,
No,
right?
was it?
It was implemented to help us as fans really figure out who the best team is, and then it's expanded, Diesel, from the BCS to the playoff, and then the playoff is expanded so that there's not a upset team left out who's number 5, right? That's the reason all of this has happened. So again, you have to separate. It stinks. It's unfortunate, but as a college football fan, we have to realize that what we think this sport is truly nowhere close to what we think this sport is. Tying all back to what you just said, those matchups probably aren't going to get great ratings. Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, who would have ever thought that would be a playoff game in college football,
Right. Yeah.
not basketball?
Yeah.
And to think, oh, here we are as fans thinking, oh, it doesn't matter. Well, guess what? Going back to my original point, we have to remember that none of this is being catered to us as fans.
Well, and it begs the point, would you rather put in a lesser team, for example, just making this up, a lesser Michigan who didn't finish the season inside the top 12? Would you rather put a lesser Michigan in over a better Vanderbilt because Michigan is going to carry a much, much bigger audience? I mean, is that how we want to build the college football playoff in the future? I understand exactly what you're saying. We expanded this so that we could get more brands and more fan bases involved. It was not ever to make sure that a second group of 5 team gets in. It's not ever made to benefit the fans. It was always meant to benefit the advertisers and those willing to throw a whole lot of money at this thing.
Sure.
Josh Pate, Mike Golick Jr., 2 big-time voices in the college football world, both jumped all over this tweet, calling this guy an absolute elitist, which, hey, if your goal is to get the largest possible audience to watch it, elitism is what you need to have. Funny enough, Connor Stallions jumped all over this thing, tweeted back saying that millions across the globe in foreign countries would be watching when Navy shocks the world and makes the college football playoff. This is just, I hope that we don't end up in a point, Cole, where it fully jumps the shark, fully goes WWE. Imagine a moment where you've got Georgia versus Indiana in a college football playoff game, or I'll pick another team with a better brand, Georgia versus Miami in a college football playoff game, and Kirby Smart's Georgia team is up 35-3 at halftime.
Yeah.
And then you've got somebody from the network calling a very super secret black telephone inside the Georgia locker room saying, hey, Kirby, we're going to need you to, in wrestling parlance, let him get that shoulder up off the floor. Let him bring it back because our ratings are suffering, man. Nobody's watching. Everybody's turning it off. You cannot engineer the outcome that you want to have because, like I always quote from Jurassic Park and Jeff Goldblum, life finds a way. Go back and look at all these college football playoff games from the past in the 4-team playoff era, both in the semifinal games and in the national championship games. You had blowouts, 2 elite brands going head to head, and one is just so much better than the other one, or one of them plays like crap in that game. And then everybody says, oh, this isn't the matchup we should have gotten. The ratings on this thing were terrible. Who let this team in here? Well, you potentially are going to be letting in lesser teams that are going to get blown out just because they have better brands.
And Diesel, I would argue that I would disagree with you and argue that they're not trying to engineer the outcome. They're not trying to engineer the outcome. They're trying to engineer the stage. I don't think they ultimately care what happens when it's all said and done, when the clock hits 0. I think they're trying to engineer the stage hoping, yes, to your point a little bit, that it is a competitive game. They don't want it to be a blowout. There's no question about that. But I think they're more so engineering the stage of the marketing of what's going into the game, right? The television, the blue bloods, the drama, the storylines, the headlines. And with that being said, when they can engineer the stage, obviously they're hoping for the best. To your point about the outcome, they're wanting a close competitive contest. But the outcome, I believe, is still always, to your point, going to be decided on the field. Hopefully that mysterious black telephone never pops up because ultimately, why do people love sports? People love sports, and especially college football, because they go to a theater on a Tuesday night with their wife, and then they go to a play on Wednesday night, and then they go see a dance recital on Thursday night. And when they go into that, they already know the outcome. When they watch college football on Saturday, they don't know what's going to happen. And I 100% agree with you. I hope we can always keep that aspect of it. But at the same time, those in the works, those with control, want to engineer it so that there's as much drama and storylines as possible.
Well, I will echo something that if you spend a lot of time watching Josh Pate or listening to his podcast, that he says regularly, paraphrasing, I'm not so sure that the people with their hands on the wheels of college football actually love college football.
Yeah.
End quote. That is Josh Pate's saying that he says all the time, that the people who are in power pulling the strings don't actually love college football.
Sure.
Here's where I take over. The people who are running college football right now are finance bros. They are lifetime managerial ladder climbers who have survived their way into a position where they can affect something that millions of people like you and me and all of our Tolos listening love to watch. They don't care about the game. They only care about the money that the game can generate for the venture capitalists and the private equity types that they answer to. We cannot let people get involved with deciding who gets into the playoff based on how their ratings might play out, because again, you never know how the games are going to play out. Sometimes you're going to get amazing epic football games, and that's great. Sometimes you're going to get dud football games, and it is what it is. But also, Cole, if we do it this way, if we let guys like this person who posted this tweet, Todd Furman, if we let those guys get their way, we will eliminate the Cinderella possibilities of college football. We will take away the opportunity that a team like Vanderbilt has an amazing run because they got this once-in-a-generational type quarterback that Vanderbilt could never, ever get, and we will see those kind of moments go away. And I don't want to see that happen.
No, I don't either. I don't think anybody does. And to your point about what Josh Pate says, like, we've only been saying that for 5 years. You and I have said it on this show. I'm not saying that we came up with it before Josh Pate did, but everybody knows that those who are actually, well, let me say this. I hope through the past year and a half that you and I have been discussing this, I hope college football fans that listen to this show understand that that is 100% true, because we've talked about it a million times. Same thing with basketball. We've talked about expansion there and possibly expanding the NCAA tournament. It's never been about what's the best interest of college football. It's always been about the interest of moolah and what the ratings can do. So it's always been about that. It always will be. Unfortunately, this guy's tweet. What was the guy's name who originally tweeted this out?
Todd Furman.
Todd. I don't know that Todd's necessarily wrong. I mean, I
Right.
know here's the reality of it, Diesel. Nobody wants the Josh Pates, the other people who tweeted this and tweeted back at him. Nobody wants it to be true. But ultimately, what Todd says, he's probably on point.
Yeah, it's depressing, but I hold out hope that one of the most American institutions of upward mobility and the every person's opportunity to rise up through their own hard work. I hope that doesn't go away and get squashed in the form of college football and having the elites and those who have spent 30, 40, 50, 80 years building up amazing brands. They are not the only ones who are ever invited to the table.
We've got to run to break in about 5 minutes, but before we do, let's get Melissa Level's take on this. Melissa's moment coming up in about 5 minutes on the show. But before we run to a break real
Do we
quick,
have a
Melissa.
title segment
Oh,
now?
yeah.
It's got
Yeah.
Melissa's moment.
Melissa's
Always
moment.
has been.
Oh, my
Melissa's
goodness.
You didn't even know.
moment.
I didn't even know because I'm on the air. I'm not listening.
Ah,
Okay.
It's bold. It's LED. It flashes
Oh,
at 2
good.
a.m.
Yeah, I'm such a flashy person.
It really
Yeah.
is. So Diesel brought up this topic about college football playoff and a tweet that originally was sent out about those who, Diesel put it, those who have their hand on the steering wheel of college
Right.
football,
Mhm.
not really necessarily caring
Like
about
Home
the sport itself.
Depots and
Yeah.
right, okay, those kind of things.
Why
right?
are we letting the CEO of Home Depot decide who gets into the college football playoff?
Because our Disney.
True. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if
because
you
they
hold the
don't
money,
like a governor.
yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, where this came from was an NBC analyst, Todd Furman,
I
who
like
said
it.
that if we have teams like USF and Georgia Tech getting into the playoff, which is a very
Right.
real possibility
Right.
this year, that it's going to kill the ratings and that the
It's
ratings
not
are going to
about the
suck.
ratings.
Shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be.
And also, those are TV markets. I mean, Florida, Georgia, Atlanta, those
Sure.
are huge markets. And so I don't see how it would kill the ratings for that. People should come to watch the playoffs. You're going to balance it off with the teams that are there because they're really good and big powerhouses anyway. So they're all going to be the ones that you think are going to be there will probably more than likely be there.
And I beg the biggest question,
Mm-hmm.
why are we letting what we think might happen in a playoff format that we've never actually seen? Yes, it's the second year of the 12-team playoff, but they've changed the playoff format.
You mean like
to
they
change
won't
the
play as
seeding.
good without a quarterback that
Yeah.
they would have had that got injured in the middle of the season? I'm just
Correct.
saying.
Well,
Okay, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, like, we're making these potentially overarching
Right.
decisions that
Mhm.
affect college football to its core
Right.
based on what we think might happen if certain scenarios come
Right.
to pass, rather than letting this thing play out for a couple of years. I think last
It
year
should play
was
out.
a total anomaly, the way that Boise State got a first round bye. I don't
Mhm.
think that would ever happen, in more than once out of maybe every 10 years. So what we did, we had this knee-jerk reaction. Oh,
Right.
we have to change this thing
That's
to make
right.
sure that can't happen again. Well,
Right.
how do we know it was going to happen again anyway?
Yeah, well, we don't. But I will say this. I mean, they knew who was in the playoff before they announced it because they had a mistake there on that camera angle with the final four, the four teams that were left that had the the little
Helmets.
helmets behind them.
Mhm.
And there was in an earlier segment. But I mean, I just think that it's a business. Okay, just like the NFL is a business. However, it should be operated from the same value system that the college university and the NCAA offers.
Right.
That's the way I think. I think if you get in there, and you know what, it happens in basketball. The people that aren't supposed to get there, look at the Cinderella teams, look at the people like a
Right.
Davidson
Yeah.
or something like. You do the same thing on a smaller scale with football. Let it play out. Let it- I
Melissa's
agree.
moment coming up next. We're going to roll off to a break. We're going to get into Florida State and a lot more next on Melissa's moment right here on the Fan Up Stage. earlier is a good thing. Melissa's moment, normally at 5 o'clock. Today it's at 3:24, happening right now. Melissa Level, Marketing Director at Ingalls Markets. And we are live at Ingalls, 1524 Locust Hill Road in Greer. We have some gift cards to give away. If you Tolos want to come by and grab one, we'd love to give you one on this Wednesday. Melissa, let's just cut right to it. Let's cut right to it.
I can feel the knife going into the
We've got a lot to talk about.
You feel it in the front, or is it in the back, or both?
Both, the heart and the back.
We got to get to it. Listen, we'll talk about other things. We'll talk about Ingalls. We'll talk about the pumpkins and what you're carving into your pumpkin next Friday. But listen, Mike Norvell was given
Deion Sanders. I'm carving them into my
Mike Norvell given a vote of confidence for now,
until the
Melissa.
end of the year.
So what does that mean?
Well, it's $100 million buyout.
Does that mean they're gathering the money?
I think they might be doing that somehow. But I mean, I've got to tell you, I don't even think it's Norvell's fault. I have to tell you that what happened at the end of this game last time with Castellanos was tragic. Okay. And when he was down for over 2 minutes. It was a direct targeting, helmet to helmet hit. The player was ejected. I think more needs to happen. Now he's in the concussion protocol now, and so he's going to be out maybe for the rest of the season.
So, Melissa, given that there's some other big-time, high-profile jobs that have already come open.
Mm-hmm.
UCLA is open. Virginia Tech is open. Not saying either one of those are higher-profile jobs than Florida State, but Florida, arguably, Penn State, probably. I mean, at this point, given how many big jobs are out there, do you think that maybe Florida State should wait another year to the midpoint of next season so that they can be the prettiest girl who's available for the dance first, rather than being the third or fourth best option this offseason?
Then you risk being like a UCF instead of a Florida State. I mean, I think you let it go. I think you let it slide too far if you do that. I mean, something has to change. Florida State has not forgotten who they are. All right. And that is something that I think is important. But we have had some, we forgot how to win last year. Okay. And a lot of that had to do with multiple things.
Yeah.
But until you're recruiting, until you're getting the portal right, until you have the NIL money in there to get the players, it doesn't matter if you have a coach that the new players don't have confidence in, because they want to win.
Sure.
All right. And for them to stay there year after year, when the system that it is now, they have to be winning. Right.
How much do you think Florida getting rid of Napier puts pressure on Florida State?
I don't think it matters. I think it's a Florida State issue. I think it's internal. I think it's our fan.
You don't think they're looking over there at their hated rival at all?
Well, Florida is not as much a hated rival as Miami.
Yeah. Really?
Sort of
Still Florida, though.
Wow.
Miami's the one they go out in the middle of the field before they kick off and fight.
Yeah.
Okay. At least they do. They do every single time before the coin toss. They all go out there. The whole team's like they fight.
Yeah.
I think they're an in-state rival, definitely, but I don't think they're the rival.
Wow.
I think that the rival is a Miami or a Clemson.
That might be the most Florida State thing I've ever heard, saying, Florida, you're not even a rival.
Ooh.
You're just an in-state opponent.
Well, they'll beat us this year, but that's okay. Because everybody will beat us this year because we've forgotten how to win again.
Even Clemson?
We've forgotten how to win, and we don't have a quarterback, possibly.
Clemson doesn't either.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Would you take Shane Beamer? Because we're getting texts already saying fire Shane. Would Florida State take Shane Beamer?
From a personal point of view, I love Shane Beamer.
Yeah.
And I loved his dad. Okay. Yeah. I think Shane should go to Virginia Tech. Okay, that's a legacy. You've seen it before, right? In NFL, you've seen it with father-son, right?
See, I like James Franklin for the Virginia Tech job.
Do you really?
I've been saying it for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, but I just think it's a legacy. I think it's something that would just bring a whole lot of attention.
Yeah, but if he's struggling to win now with $55-60 million coming in from the conference every year, what do you think he's going to be able to do at a poverty program like Virginia Tech?
But he's not playing against the SEC.
He's not playing against the SEC. That's exactly right.
I think he'd win a lot of games. I just don't know. By the way, since Diesel brought up James Franklin, what your reaction to that?
I think that would be good, but I think we need a coach that is not only Florida State. I think Florida State needs not only a coach that's a really great coach, but someone who's going to say, I want to play for him because of the history, because of all that. I mean, if Saban wanted to come back,
That ain't
Okay.
happening, Melissa. That's
Okay,
not happening.
you know what
You
you
know,
say that about a lot of things.
I,
It could happen.
I find that
Okay.
so interesting. Programs that have one of like their guys that came up through the program, loves the program, would never leave the program if they got the job. Ultimately, when they struggle, they want somebody from the outside. But when you've got somebody from the outside who's struggling, the answer is, hey, let's bring somebody who's been here who knows the culture.
But the thing is that if they knew the culture, they'd be winning because they'd be doing something right in some part of the game, right?
That's a good
Okay,
point, yeah.
they'd be doing something right in some part of the game. And I think now in this time, it is not about who the coach is; it's about who you can get to play on the field.
Mhm.
Okay, and when you have who you can play to get that, you need a brand.
Well,
You
I
need a
think
brand.
I think here's the answer. Since AI is getting better and better and better
Get
every
Bobby
year,
Bowden
just
back
get
there.
Bobby
I'm just
Bowden back in AI form.
Oh, there you
Yes,
go.
put his
Listen, we would all like that. Now listen, I think
dadgummit.
now you have to look at Norvell though. Look at what he did when he had the players.
Sure.
Okay, he is an excellent recruiter. He's excellent in the portal. He's excellent being able to recruit with the money. I don't know where the fall off came. I don't know if it was an emotional fallout, if it was the whole university didn't get behind him. I don't know. I don't. I almost think I'm going to go back to my thing. I almost think I'd like to give him another chance.
Norvell?
I'd like if he had the money to bring the players in. Look what he did 2 years ago.
Yeah. But let me ask you this question. The discrepancy, like the gap there, it's like the gap on your insurance coverage, that falls on you
I know.
for having that gap there. That falls on Norvell, right? For not
Right.
having the players.
I think we would have won or tied or at least one gotten to tie or at least won
Yeah.
the game last week had Castellanos was making his comeback. We have a problem with waiting till the very last minute,
Yeah.
second to make our move. Okay, we almost beat Miami in those last times. Castellanos needs a warm up period. They ought to bring him about 2 hours before and make him start playing. And then he's ready for the beginning. But I'm concerned about now not having the players. I mean, we have an excellent running back.
Sure.
Okay, but I think that we could have some issues.
Maybe what Florida State needs is to have a quarterback that's been in the program for more than 10 minutes and have a guy that they develop over a period of time.
That's right.
And be able to keep a guy around for a couple of years,
But for that you need to have the brand and
Yeah.
you need to be winning.
Yeah.
Because they're going to want to
which
go.
you don't have right now.
You want to go from a power forward to the NFL,
Right.
right? Okay, even though you have to take a pay cut to get
But
there.
you don't think
True.
you don't think he's
That's
going to
true.
be retained, do you? Do you think he'll be brought back?
I do.
Really?
$100 million is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
It's a lot.
It
It is.
depends on what the alumni wealthy.
So, I
The
mean,
Melissas.
Penn State paid out
cabal.
what?
Yeah, right. I
60?
could do that. I could just do that in a second. Here you go. Excuse me, I got it in my purse. You maybe
Adidas,
forgot it in the
Melissa.
car.
Adidas, Melissa.
So let's kind of pivot from one thing you know a lot about,
Mhm.
Florida State, to something else you know a lot about in NIL. This is something that I don't know if you heard this, just came down in the state of Ohio. A judge issued a temporary restraining order that bans players, high school players, from profiting off of their
Thank
NIL.
God.
South
Thank God.
Carolina doesn't have it yet, but
Mhm.
we've talked about it many times before, and the way Ingles has gotten involved with NIL in the past. Is it a good idea to have 14 to 18-year-olds entering into NIL deals? I mean,
Is
at
that a
14,
joke? Is
is
that
that a
question
joke?
a joke?
at 14, no, you just said thank God they're going to be able to do it, but at
Thank
the same
God.
time you say it's a bad idea.
No, they're not going to be able to do it. I thought Ohio said they can't do
No,
it.
they
why I said that.
previously could not,
Oh,
but a
cool.
judge just put in a restraining
Oh,
order
okay, I
that
had it
says
wrong. No,
they can.
no, they
So,
should not be able to. Period. Frankly, I'm going to be completely clear on
I mean,
that.
what
thought-
are,
you
what are,
thought
what are
he-
freshmen
yeah.
going to do? Like, have Juicy Juice NIL deals? Like, what are they going to get money for? But, like,
There is no protection for these young men.
Right.
Okay, zero. Okay, and so what you're looking at is a bunch of people that are going to start taking advantage of them. I told you in our experience with the NIL, we were working with NFL style managers. Okay, who would sign some of these deals for 20 years. Holding them from investors from different rival companies, even though we wouldn't have something over in California for 20 years, they couldn't go with a Walmart. Okay,
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
right, and
yeah.
when they got into the NFL or whatever it was, and it's a shame. You don't have enough really good, honest lawyers to protect a teenage kid
Yeah, that's a good
from
point.
$1 million contract.
That's a good point.
kind of reminds me of the was it Juan Soto? We were talking about his deal where he signed sort of a futures offer when he was in minor league ball, just so that he could afford to live.
Right.
And he never thought he would make it into the majors and make the crazy money he was making.
Right.
But
Yeah.
then he had to give a huge percentage of his
Back to the deal.
MLB paycheck to this essentially loan shark
Right.
Yeah.
that got him when he was broke and
That's
starving
exactly
at 19
right.
years old.
Or you have a parent or somebody who's, I mean,
And
the
parents take advantage of their
the
kids
things
financially too.
could
Sometimes.
be so bad in that situation. I mean, Arch Manning had a you could guarantee when he was a junior in high school. Okay, was it 5 million, 55 million?
Yeah.
Right.
Or 5,500?
Whatever it was,
5
yeah.
million, 5 something. But I mean, I just don't think it's right. And then you really look at everybody taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
Okay, your friends, your
Mm.
parents, your family, your distant long lost cousins, and then you go into the college and you want to sign with the college you want to play with, and this guy says no, the fine print is you have to be
Sure.
within 50 miles of my office,
Sure.
right? Okay.
Mm.
You have to play with. I just don't think there's any reasonable way. You can't sign a contract until you're 18 years old.
Yeah.
So Cole, you obviously know the South Carolina high school leagues a lot better than I do. Has this come up within the South Carolina high school leagues to be a possible thing they want to look
Yeah,
at?
it's coming. North Carolina has it, and it's coming to South Carolina too. And unfortunately, Diesel, it is. Hopefully, some sort of legislation or something can protect it. But I agree with you, Melissa. I hope it never does, because the sport that so many love, it's going to be a lot different.
And you're
if that
taking away
happens.
the opportunity that somebody may have
Yeah.
to show themselves to be much better than they ever thought they would be,
Sure.
to being able to make a career out of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's also something too. And then if you have an injury in high school, what happens?
Right. Amateurism
Okay.
has its place, and I think we're trying to get rid of it
Yeah.
completely.
And I think Arch Manning is not, he's not all in on it. I think the name and everybody is like, I don't think his heart's 100%.
Maybe he wants to be a painter, but his dad
I
says,
think he
"Hey, you
wants to
got to
be
be
a
a
coach.
football
Yeah,
player."
I think you wanted to do HVAC, but they said no.
Yeah, electrician, which
Yep.
pays probably more. than
Probably
what you
pretty
make.
good.
Judging by my
Melissa,
last bill.
I know you have to be careful with it because you're a recently new sponsor, but Clemson right now 3-4 on the season. I mean, there has been, as you know, a lot of heat
Mhm.
directed toward Dabo Sweeney, and rightfully so, because of the preseason expectations.
Right.
There's a lot of people that are starting to, want some change.
Well, let me
Offensive
ask you
coordinator.
this then. I don't mean to interrupt, but
Yeah.
he's coaching the same way he did last year. Okay. Why were the expectations so much more for him this year than last year?
Because
right?
he brought everybody back and everybody returned, and
But
he
it was
had,
still the same thing.
It
though,
was
right.
everything
okay?
aligned the way that he wanted it to
Right.
be aligned, which was paying guys for their loyalty
Right.
and keeping them in the system and developing them and having Garrett Riley be back for a third straight
like
season.
a real job.
And yeah, I mean, it seemed as if this was the year that was going to prove that Dabo Sweeney's system works.
Yeah.
And it's the worst it's been in a while.
I know. And I hate that because I want the system where you're not depending on people moving back and forth and having 5 different college careers, right? To not work.
But Melissa,
Okay, I
at some
want
point,
that to
when
be right.
you in
Yeah.
your position, you've done this a million times. When you see something's not working, what do you have to do? You have to change. You have to. I mean, you got to do something different.
Yeah.
And Dabo's way of coaching is just not. I mean, he's got all these guys who are loyal, but and he was on record a few months ago saying that the portal kids aren't good enough to play here. Well, now that looks
Yeah,
ridiculous
yeah.
because they're 3-4,
Right.
and there's pretty good portal players all across the country.
Right.
now.
I think he doesn't use that. I think he does need to use that. I think they've got the NIL money down, but the portal is something that he just doesn't like to use because he doesn't want to have this
Sure.
switching in and out, switching in and
Yeah.
out, switching in and out. This doesn't-
Transactional.
Right. Okay. But it's not good for the student either. And I think he's thinking long term about developing these
He
people
is.
into good young men, not just to
He
be
is, but
football
Rob,
players,
the
right?
problem is fans don't care about any of that. Fans want to win. You know,
I don't. I think they want to win, and they would go around firing him if he wasn't capable of winning.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think they're going to fire him if he doesn't want to use the portal.
Sure.
Okay. Because a lot of fans hate what's happening in college football.
Oh yeah.
I think they want him to make it. Okay. They want him
They
to
do.
make it. Okay. But you're right though. I mean, if Norvell goes,
Well,
I can't even imagine.
I don't know
Dabo
if
not going.
this leans kind of one direction or the other, or if it kind of goes right down the middle. There was some audio earlier today of Eric Bakich, the baseball coach
Right.
at Clemson, who flat out said that, hey, we've got guys who like elite level pitchers that want to come to Clemson, but what they want financially is more than we're paying guys that are already on our team.
Right.
And we're not going to do that because we want to have harmony inside the locker room. We
Yeah.
don't want a guy that's been here for 10 minutes making more money than somebody who's been here for 3.5 years. So maybe that's kind of that middle ground of saying, hey, we're willing to pay you what we're already
Right.
paying our elite players. If they want to go by skill level, okay, that's
I
a little
think
harder.
the
That's more
ceiling is
subjective.
important. I think that
Yeah.
the position salaries are important for this to work.
But then you're
Okay.
still never going to get the best of the best transfer
That's
portal
right.
guys.
No, but if everybody in the portal stands to make this amount of money if they play this position, no matter where they go, then now it becomes a position of what college do you want to go to?
If there were some kind of cap.
Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not.
No, not right
I
now.
wish there was something, you
Not
know,
right now. Not right now.
but
But
it's a bidding war.
I do know that that's in the works. I think that it has to be because it's impossible. You could use every bit of your NIL money on a quarterback.
Sure.
They get injured, and then your season's over. I mean, I don't think. I mean, I like Dabo's system. I like the idea of building the loyalty, being able to say that you were with these people, won the national champion
And,
after in
and
your
that's the
senior
problem.
year. And,
You
yeah.
like the system, but you don't like being 3-4. You know.
No.
So where's the
Nobody does.
nobody does?
I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Then again, Florida State is all portal, all
Portal,
portal, as
That's true.
they're 3 and 4.
You gotta have a
so,
That's right.
balance.
you know,
It's just the same. I just think people look at this as the bad guy. Okay. The head of the team is still the bad guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he fired a lot of people. He brought in some new people, right, this year.
Yeah.
That haven't gotten used to the system, don't know each other a lot. And, I don't know how you build a team when you rebuild it
I
every
know.
single
It's
year.
crazy.
I don't know how you do it. I love the idea of the baseball. I mean, listen, they got a great team.
Yeah.
Brought everybody back. Who knows? Maybe they'll be
That's
even
right.
farther. But I mean, when you look at it from the perspective of I'm not going to do any different when I go all portal and I'm good at it
Sure.
than I'm doing with somebody who refuses to go in the portal, right? Okay. Then what happens then, right? You can't blame Dabo for not going through the portal. Okay. You can blame him for not coaching well, but you can't blame it on him not using the portal.
Melissa, I'm going to ask you a big question. And Cole alluded to this when he talked about that big old display of pumpkins that are behind you.
right.
I'm going to jump the shark on that one just a little bit. When should Christmas decorations go up and when should they come down? Early
Should I
you
say
can
it
put
from a
them up
retail perspective or
from
from a
your
personal?
personal
Okay.
Retail, she says July 5th.
Yeah.
Retail, I can tell you they will be up right after Halloween.
Okay.
Okay. You'll start seeing Christmas candy first and you'll get the most, but by Thanksgiving, it'll be full blown. And they will stay in the store until December the 25th, right?
I think it's a problem. Thanksgiving doesn't market itself as well as Christmas does.
It's not a fall thing. It's
not a big money spending holiday.
And you don't, it's good food spending,
Right.
but it's not a decoration and
Yeah,
extra, all sorts of things. It's getting a little better at it. For me personally, I put my tree up the week of the SEC championship, which is the first weekend in December.
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 So you're waiting.
Wow, it's first weekend of September.
No, first
Got
week
it.
of December,
Okay.
right? That first week, that
Yeah.
SEC, because I'm always watching it when I put my
Yeah,
tree
I'm
up.
with you.
Okay,
And you leave it up until
January, probably 10th.
Okay.
A little bit after New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, because I'm usually so busy.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the lights, and it's nice.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Yep. Now my outside decorations come down Christmas.
Well, Melissa, you're the best.
You're the bester. By the way, we signed up for next year. You are.
Yeah,
Yes.
appreciate it.
We'll be here at Ingles every other Wednesday, all next
We're
next
so
year.
excited. Yeah,
Love it.
thanks
Appreciate you so much.
Bye.
Thanks, Melissa. That's Melissa Level, marketing director for Ingles Markets. When we come back, we'll do our quick whip around the sports world. Our daily wires coming up next. Tolo's doing a whip around the sports world as we 24. What a way to start the season for the NBA. The Warriors also defeated the LeBronless Lakers 119-109. There he is. There he is. There he is.
Sorry, the line in the bathroom was really long.
Is that the
Yeah,
case?
it was really
I'm
long.
sure you were riveted and locked to both of those NBA games last
Fell
night.
asleep in the second one.
Oh,
Not gonna lie to you. Yeah,
No, I
got
didn't watch
sleepy. Got sleepy. You lay on the couch and you think you're gonna watch them all, and then the mistake you made is laying on the couch.
Well, it's because you're up at like 4 a.m. You know, you're
No,
up
I
before
did
Rob
not
Brown
wake
even
up
starts his
until
show.
5:30 this morning. Thank you.
Well,
I didn't
okay.
wake up till 5:30.
It's called burning the candle at both ends, Cole.
It
It's
is
not healthy.
It is.
Last night in college football, Kennesaw State beat FIU 45-26 in a barn burner. And Western Kentucky, Louisiana Tech, that's the one you wanted to watch.
That was a good game.
28-27
Yeah.
final score. Western Kentucky advances to, off the top of my head, I believe they're 6-2 on the season.
That was actually a really
year.
good game. Yeah.
And Louisiana Tech going to be making their way into the Sun Belt next year. How about that?
La Tech.
Tonight in college football, you've got 2 games. Middle Tennessee State travels to Delaware. Most people didn't realize that Delaware was even in FBS football, but they are. They're in Conference USA now.
Let me go over to the popcorn aisle real quick here at Ingles and get my popcorn because I'm gonna need it for that one tonight.
Hey, I do love the unis. You know, they're mocking Michigan with their unis.
Popcorn and melatonin. That's the recipe tonight for that football game, right?
Missouri State also travels out west to New Mexico State. So I know you're going to be watching that one too. The Hornets will get underway tonight at 7 o'clock. They will host the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets, at 7 o'clock tonight.
Let's go Hornets.
In case you missed it, congratulations to the Fan Upstate Player of the Week for Week 8, Aiden Gibson of Woodruff High School. We had him on yesterday. Fantastic kid, great ball player, crazy good running back. And if you missed it, you can find it again on our podcast at thefanupstate.com and on the free Odyssey app. Cole, if you would you grab this piece of audio out of our daily audio drop folder? We're going to play that here in just a second.
1 second.
Reports are out from Trey Wingo that the Dallas Cowboys have inquired about the Las Vegas Raiders and maybe sending them pass rusher Max Crosby.
Oh, don't say it out loud. Just don't.
Don't get cold too excited.
Do it. Don't do it. I might cry. If that were to happen, I promise you, I'd be really, really happy.
Denver Broncos head coach Sean Payton and Russell Wilson are jawing at each other through the media. Sean Payton said that he was hoping to face Russell Wilson when they played the Giants on Sunday. Payton got rookie start instead. That caught Russell Wilson's attention, and he said, classless, but not surprised, didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15-plus years later through the media. How about that, man?
You know what? Calling them out, I like it.
Yeah.
April Mosley in the house,
How
by
about
the way.
that?
April Mosley got an Eagles gift card. Look at that. You're
Sweet.
welcome.
Enjoy. LA Angels outfielder Mike Trout testified Tuesday that a team employee alerted him to possible concerns about drug use by its former communications director, Eric Kay, before the 2019 accidental overdose death of pitcher Tyler Skaggs in a Texas hotel room. Trout said that he confronted Kay directly, telling him, quote, "You have 2 boys at home and you have to get this right." Trout's testimony brought the court case a step closer to establishing that Kay's behavior was raising enough red flags to warrant team intervention before he provided the drugs that killed Skaggs at 27 years old.
That's awful.
The Skaggs family, by the way, suing the Angels for wrongful death, seeking $118 million and asserting that the team violated its own rules by allowing Kay to remain on staff. We have audio here, Cole. I alluded to it a few minutes ago when we had Melissa on. Head baseball coach of the Clemson Tigers, Eric Bakich, was explaining here why he decided not to offer NIL packages to elite transfer portal pitchers.
Wow.
Interesting.
Mm.
Kind of taking a hybrid Dabo Sweeney approach, like, hey, we're going to pay you. We're going to throw some money at
Yeah.
you, but we're not going to pay you more than what the guys who are already here are making.
And boy, how different baseball and basketball are than football, where you don't have to worry about 22 guys, right? So it's a different sport, but I appreciate it. Let's just hope it works, right?
Two more for you here before we move on. Tennessee baseball coach Tony Vitello
Whoa.
is now officially finalizing a deal to become the next manager of the San Francisco
Whoa.
Giants. And lastly here, Cole, Virginia starting quarterback Chandler Morris, who's having a big year at Virginia, denied a report from The Athletic alleging that he pursued a transfer to North Carolina in this past offseason, stating that he had no contact with the program. But Bill Belichick confirmed that while no direct talks occurred with Morris, they did speak to Morris's agent. So did they talk to the kid? No. They talked to a representative of him? Yes. Tampering? Yes. Didn't work out. It's just it's an ugly situation.
Diesel, ugly situation. You know what that means? It's time for the upset picks challenge. Not throwing shots
Are you
at
talking
you there.
about my score right now?
No. I'm not going to brag, because if I brag, I'll not hit this week. So maybe an ugly situation or a beautiful situation, depending on who you are. But the time has come, Tolos. We are calling for 50 upset pick entries in the very first segment.
Woo.
You better get ready. 844-326-3663. We're not ending the segment until we get 50. Just plain and simple, upset picks challenge begins in 5 minutes on the Fan Upstate.
upstate.
Well, boy, oh boy, do we have a gift on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. Leprechaun of Lyman says, I'll give my upset pick in person. I'm stopping by shortly.
Oh, April Mosley just stopped by.
Hey, we also had another
Buckeye
Tolo.
Mike was here
Yeah,
earlier.
and there was another Tolo that came in, and I apologize because I know he's listening.
And I know I recognize
we
his
talked
face.
to him. Remember last time?
Yeah,
we talked to him.
did.
It was at different angles though, and we
Was
talked
it
to him. Was it
Mike?
Bill or
Mike or Mark? I think.
I don't know. I'm
Gosh,
sorry.
sorry about that.
Tolos. Sorry, we're bad at names. What's your name, by the way?
Yeah.
I'm terrible with names. So here we go. We are off. The Upset Picks Challenge has begun. It is open, and let them rip, Tater Chips. 844-326-3663. If you are listening to the show and have not participated in the Upset Picks Challenge, or you've gotten so far down that you've just given up, want to encourage you. Submit your pick, submit your entry, because I was near the bottom of the list. Just a bit of encouragement for you. Last week, Diesel, I was way back with only like 6.5 points. I hit on just one pick and have already moved to the middle column. So, Tolos, if you're discouraged, don't just quit picking. Don't quit sending them in. If you haven't done so already, we'd love for you to join. So, here's what you do. On ESPN.com, Diesel locked the lines in at 3 o'clock today. Yep. But you, Tolos, go to ESPN.com. You find a game where you feel like the underdog is going to outright win the game. If you believe that to be the case for that particular game, you text it in to 844-326-3663. You include your name, the game, and the spread. Mm-hmm. That's how you enter the Upset Picks Challenge. For example, RJ just hit it on the head. Great example. Upset pick, RJ, Cal plus 4.5 points over Virginia Tech. That's all you have to do. If you hit, that is added to your season-long tally of points, which you can find the standings on the Fan Upstate Twitter and Facebook. But we need 50, Diesel. I'm setting the bar high. I know that's ridiculous. For this one segment, I am calling for 50 Upset Pick Challenge entries. That includes yours, anybody who's sitting here at Ingles, anybody. We need 50, though.
Is that going to include yours, Cole? Because so here you are saying, hey, Diesel, I need you to go ahead and get your upset pick in. And you're just over there being quiet, like the cat who ate the canary, saying, I might sit back and wait a little
49,
while.
not including yours. You don't have to submit yours. 48, not including mine. 40. To answer your question, I might have it in this segment. I might not. I am going to tell you, I like RJ's. I was looking at that yesterday. RJ's submission over Cal, or with Cal over Virginia Tech. That's one of them. But let's go to the phone lines, Diesel, where Delvin from Fountain Inn wants to give his upset pick. Delvin, what's happening, man?
What's up, guys? Me and RJ thinking alike. I was shocked they the underdog in this game. Give me Cal plus 4.5 over Virginia Tech.
You like
it, Delvin?
Yeah, I like that. I'm surprised they the underdog.
What is it that you? I mean, can you explain why Virginia Tech's favored in this game? I don't understand. I mean, I know it's Lane Stadium, but is that really worth that many points?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Unless they consider that they travel from the West Coast to the East Coast, that's all I can figure out.
Hey, Delvin, remind me again, who's your NFL team?
My NFL team got a Cowboy.
I thought so because we have a promo of you running. I don't know if you've ever heard that or not, but we have a promo of your voice running with the segment about the Cowboys. What I mean, are you as high as I am right now at 3-3-1? I can't believe I'm high on a team that's 3-3-1, but I heard some reports, and Diesel read it in the Daily Wires, that Dallas could potentially go get Max Crosby. Would you be as excited and happy as I would be if that were to happen?
Yes, it depends on what we give up, too.
Oh, that's a good point. Would you give up Trayvon Diggs and those 2 picks for him?
I don't know about that.
That's mighty expensive.
Yeah, that's mighty expensive. I agree with you, man. That's mighty expensive right there.
What about 1 pick in Trayvon Diggs?
They'll probably do then. They'll probably do.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's do it. Hey, Delvin, call Jerry. Get it done, okay?
Yeah, I will. All right,
Appreciate
take
you,
care of my
Delvin.
call, guys.
No, that would be, just another Jerry Jones thing to do. Give up your best defensive player
Go get another one.
to go get another defensive player.
That's also going to be in the same boat with a contract in a year or two, whatever it is. I don't know exactly what Max
Master of the
cost.
deal,
Yeah,
Jerry Jones.
Good job, Jerry. What would Jerry Jones do if he picked up the phone and Delvin were on the other line?
He tried to sell him on season tickets. Delvin, Delvin. I know you live in South Carolina, but can I interest you in season tickets for the Dallas Cowboys?
Let's do it. I'll drive. Here's the deal. I'll drive Delvin. I'll drive if we can get to me and Delvin. I had a buddy who was wanting to go last Sunday to the game against Washington, but after the Panthers loss, I said no. I can't stomach it. I just can't do it.
So you just gave up on your team like
I
that.
did for a week, and then we won again. And now I'm back. Now I'm back. I'd go now.
Isn't it amazing sports, man? They can tear you down and lift you right up really fast. Tolos, 844-326-3663. Get your upset picks to us. Your name, your game, and the spread. Let's see here. Tolos Steve is taking Northwestern plus 8.5 over Nebraska, he says. He also says go Buckeyes. Man, how many Ohio State fans have moved to South Carolina?
A lot, man.
They are here.
A lot. So
we need
40 more.
Yep.
40 more in this segment. Again, I know that's setting the bar really, really high, but Tolo's out there. You Tolos are kind of fickle, I guess is the right word, on how you get these upset picks in. Sometimes they'll load in at 4 on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll be like Thursday at 3. You never know.
It is odd, I mean, you'll just have a flood of them on one day, and the other day, in that one segment, the next segment, it's kind of dry. But Tolos, don't wait. There's no extra points for waiting any longer. You can go ahead and get your upset picks in now. And I'm glad, Cole, that you've finally come around to what I've been trying to tell you that I'm still hoping for. God, I'm hoping for this because I think right now I'm at 5 points.
I've come around for now.
You've come around for now,
just like the sports fan.
Yeah, I've been only been trying to tell people all season long
I know.
that just stay with it because you never know. You could hit for a big one in week number 9, and all of a sudden you're in the top half of these standings, and now you're pushing, to get back into the top 5, 10, 15, whatever it may be. But don't give up. Don't stay out because you can get yourself back in there. And that's what I'm hoping for, Cole. And as you said, you ride or die with your team. I'm going to ride or die with my team. My upset pick, I'm officially making it right now. And I wasn't going to take this one. I really wasn't going to bet on my own team. And they say you're not supposed to do that, right? You're not supposed to bet with emotion.
But don't listen
to
them.
I need it. I need it hard right now. I am taking App State plus 14.5 over Old Dominion. I think Old Dominion is a poverty-level program. Yeah, they're in a good location, right, out there in Hampton Roads, out there in some recruiting hotbeds. But all those other programs, they strip mine all the good talent for Hampton Roads anyway. So Old Dominion's picking up the pieces. I think they were a bit of a paper tiger to start the season, and they have slumped the last couple of weeks. I'm rolling with App State plus 14.5 over Old Dominion. And if I get this one, man, I'm up there and where I want to be. I'm still not going to be where my wife is, who is in 5th place right now, which drives me nuts.
She'd probably agree with that.
She also took Coastal last week to upset my App State Mountaineers, and she said, "Well, I win twice. Either App State wins and you're in a good mood on Sunday, or Coastal wins and I've got 12.5 points."
That's true. I don't like it, but she's right. By the way, April Mosley gave you a fist pump when you made that pick. April, have you made your pick yet? Do you want to look? Are you close or no? You want to make it on air?
Are you going to roll App State too? You should roll. You should roll with the whole team.
She gave you a fist pump.
She did give me a fist pump. April, we're going to put you on this headset
We're
here.
Throwing her on the spot here. I mean, look at her.
She wasn't quite ready to make her upset pick, but that's okay.
We're
going to peer pressure April Mosley into doing it.
April, you got us?
Yep.
All right, here we go. So let me preface by saying, for those out there listening on radio, April Mosley is one of our most loyal Tolos on the stream. Madcraft, April, Dan B, JB, T Swizzle. I'm leaving some out. But you need to check out the stream if you haven't done so. You can watch this show on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And April, did you get you some groceries today?
I did.
Was a little Ingles gift card too?
Yeah.
Got a few gift cards remaining.
Yeah.
A couple of bucks off.
That was nice.
That's right.
Yeah.
Still have some Tolos. Who are you leaning?
I'm going to go Virginia Tech.
That's your lean, or
That's my take.
that's your pick?
That's my pick.
Oh,
So it's Cal over Virginia Tech. So you're taking Cal to upset Virginia Tech. Is that right? Because that's the pick.
but she got to put her glasses
Virginia
on.
Tech. I know it sounds crazy. Virginia Tech is favored in this. game.
Yeah. Okay.
So read it off
I'm
how
gonna-
it shows on your phone. Is it still -4.5?
It's -5.5.
Minus 5.5 now. It's moved a little.
So
bit.
it says Virginia Tech -5.5. Is
Yep.
that right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's
that
gone
means
up.
so Cal's the underdog. So you're taking Cal over Virginia Tech. Well, did I make you a
Yes.
second? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
By the way, that's been a pretty popular pick.
we've had two
RJ?
or three of them already.
RJ did. Delvin just got that one in.
But see, Cal's a 5-2 team. If memory serves me.
They
I
are.
like that pick,
they're,
by the
they're
way.
a good
Yes.
football team coming across country. That certainly makes things
It
difficult.
does.
But Virginia Tech stinks.
So
And they fired their
But
coach.
it's home. Yeah.
But it's homecoming.
April, let me ask you this. We've got to get to the bottom of this.
All right.
The leader of the upset picks challenge. Rumor has it you know him.
I do.
Rumor has it you live with him.
True.
L-
All
Rumor
true.
has it that he. I mean, what is he doing?
Man,
By the way, how
I
many
don't
points does he
know.
have? 60 something.
69 points.
69
he
points.
didn't hit this past week.
No.
He didn't, but
no.
it's 69, so it doesn't matter.
He's still leading by like 19 points over second place.
So what is his strategy, April? What is he doing? By the way, it's your husband.
Yes.
For those that
yes.
are listening out
Yep,
there,
yep.
April's husband is leading the Upset Pick Challenge brought to you by Ingles. I mean, are you watching him and how he's
No.
making these?
No.
Does he ask you for any advice whatsoever when it comes time to make his picks?
He does not.
So what's the
He doesn't
I
even
mean,
tell
look
you.
at how many points I have.
How many do you have?
not many?
I'm
no,
gonna
not
look
many.
and see if I can find you on the list here.
Go towards the end.
Oh, okay. I'll start from the bottom.
Are you not asking your husband how he's doing so well in this?
No.
Well, you should start.
You have 9.5 points.
That's not bad. By
You're
the
in
way.
80th place, tied for
Whew.
80th. It's. I mean, you could be Rob Brown, tied for 111th.
Mm.
Yeah, Mr. Rob knows ball.
Yeah. What'd you say? 111? Is that what you said?
111th place.
And
yeah.
I'm 80th.
You're 80th.
Yeah, let's go.
You're beating.
Back in.
April, I don't understand. You have got to figure out what your husband is doing with these upset picks. He's killing it.
I know. Well, when he first got on a tear, I was like, look, we gotta figure out,
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna pick something different.
Yeah.
You're gonna pick something different, and my son Gus is in it too.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
that's right.
Once you pick it, let me know what you're picking.
Yes.
And that's the extent that we've talked about.
April, what's your message to Tolos out there listening who have not entered the upset picks challenge yet?
Keep hope alive.
Hey, there you go. That's my strategy. That's my
I love
strategy.
it.
too.
Hey, never tell me the odds.
There you go. I like it.
That's good advice.
I like it.
That's good advice.
So, April, you hit on this one. You would jump from. Let me go back and find it. You have 9.5 points.
Which
you
is
hit
not
on this
terrible,
one.
by the way.
You'll be at 15 points, which would move you to the middle column. So
Okay.
that's a shift from column number 4 to
That's
column
big.
number 3.
That's big.
That's a good spot to be in
It
at
is.
the halfway point of the season.
Okay. I was wondering how many more games we
Second
had.
half. Look where I mean.
We have like
8
8,
weeks,
8 or 9
something.
more weeks
Yeah.
of picks
Okay.
because we have the regular season.
There's still
we
time.
have conference championship games.
Yep.
Then we have pre-Christmas bowls and post-Christmas bowls. So we
See,
still
I'll
got
keep
a
it
long
going
way to
through
go.
all that.
Yeah, we don't do it. I think last year we included first round of the college football
Yeah.
playoff.
Okay.
So we still got a long way to go. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
But like you said, keep hope alive.
That's right.
And just the time you've been on right here, we've had like several upset picks coming in.
Could you do us a favor and accidentally knock your husband's phone in the toilet or something so
Yeah.
that he cannot
Tell
get a
him he's
pick?
been banned
What is the prize anyway?
There's
Well,
no
there
prize.
is
It's
none.
just bragging rights.
because it's
Legal.
legal stuff.
Lawyers.
We're gonna. So here's what we got planned for next year. Cole is going to plan his firing from Odyssey.
Okay.
Yep. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get a prize, and Cole's gonna give it away.
Okay.
It's the end of the year.
Well, here's the Cole. You can't give it away, or else you get sued for it. You need to
Well, if I
put
get
it. You need to put it in your car
Yeah.
and leave the car doors unlocked.
There you go.
Say, tell the winner the time and place you're going to park your car
Yeah.
somewhere, and be like,
What are they
know,
gonna sue me for?
Yeah.
I mean,
Your salary for a year?
What, we have a salary? So to answer your question, next year I'm with the Tolos. There should be a prize, and if it means me getting fired, we're gonna get a prize. Maybe the prize is me getting. They don't have to listen to me anymore.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Hey, by the way, your son and husband still going to the Greer games? They go to every one, or just
yes? They missed the last one, but are they playing at home?
Greer? I don't know if Greer's at home or not this Friday. I have to look, but they're starting to play better. Do you ever go?
No.
Not a high school.
I enjoy it, but
it's
that Friday night, man, I'm like, I'm ready to get away from people.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Well, April, it's good to see you. As
Good
always.
to see y'all too.
Good to see you.
Yep.
Good luck
All
in the challenge this week.
Thank you very much.
That's
There you
April
go.
Mosley. You can see her comments on the stream if you do like. Let's see how many Tolos. 44 Tolos right now watching the show on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Steve Squared getting in. Let's see. Steve Squared's going West Virginia. Ooh. See, April. Steve Squared going West Virginia plus 15.5 over TCU. That's a big swing.
If I recall correctly, that game is in West Virginia. Am I wrong here?
Mm-mm.
I think that is a home.
No, I think you're right.
It's a home game for West Virginia. So things get wild.
Hey,
up
what
there
is
in Morgantown?
So-
They throw batteries and like couches on fire.
so TCU's favored? What's their records? You're looking at it.
TCU's 5-2. West Virginia's 2-5. But
Ah.
let's see here. Let's look a little
2 and
last 5
5,
games
Diesel?
for these two teams.
Is West Virginia that bad?
West Virginia, they've lost 4 straight, and they're getting getting ripped week after week after week. They lost 45-13 at UCF. They lost 38-24 at BYU, 48-14 at Utah, 41-10 at Kansas.
Oh God,
They haven't won a game in over a month.
that's rough. That's
Compare that to TCU though. See, here's where that pick might have some strategy, Cole.
they're due.
TCU has gone win-loss all season long, and they won their last game against Baylor. So history would suggest that TCU is not going to get up for this game, that they're going to play down to West Virginia, and that West Virginia, the Mountaineers, the second best Mountaineers in college football, they're going to win this ball game against an opponent they should not lose to.
Well, here's the deal. We've got to run to a break. I know you're fixing to throw it to break, Diesel, but Tolos, I'm going to beg one more time. You're doing pretty well in the first segment, but upset picks challenge. You're looking for an underdog to outright win the game. Get in on the challenge. Yes, next year we're going to have a prize. Yes, next year's Cole's last year at Odyssey. He's going to get fired for it, but it doesn't matter because there will be a prize, dadgummit. It's going to happen. And continue to get your upset picks in. Phone number again, 844-326-3663.
Well, your prize for listening to this show is that you get to hear major national level guests coming up in the very next segment. We're going to talk World Series with Michael Duarte of NBC LA. You've heard him on this show a couple of times before. At Michael J. Duarte on Twitter is where you can find him. We'll talk Dodgers versus Blue Jays next on the Fan Upstate.
Clear, but you got the live read.
Well, the stage is set. Got to wait a few more days until we get the World Series game number 1 to talk about it from the LA perspective. We bring on good friend of the show, Michael Duarte of NBC LA. He's come on with us a couple different times to talk baseball, and he joins us right now at Michael J. Duarte on Twitter. Michael, good to talk to you again. It's been a little while. LA ran roughshod over the Brewers, and we've seen extended layoffs kind of burn some teams in the past. Obviously, you know this team really well, covering them on a daily basis. What gives you hope and faith that this LA team will not succumb to the rust that other teams have come to in the past, and ultimately we'll take this thing home and bring a trophy back to LA?
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me on. It seems like every time I talk to you guys, I'm at the World Series or at the field or in the dugout or something like that. But to your question and to your point, the last 4 teams, I was just looking up this stat, that swept the league championship series while the other team went to a Game 7 in the world in their championship series. They all lost in the World Series. The team that did the sweeping, and so the Dodgers are trying to actually change history in that case and become the first team to sweep their championship series while the other team went to a Game 7 and then change that narrative in the World Series. To answer why they could become the first team to do that, to your point, I actually was talking to Freddie Freeman about this yesterday. He said the fact that they have played in the division series right after the regular season has come to an end in 3 out of the last 4 years, that's a 6-day layoff similar to this 6-day layoff before the World Series starts, has kind of taught them what they need to do in those 6 days to keeping their rhythm at the plate, to stay focused, to keep that edge. So at the stadium the last few days, they've been trying to imitate what a real game would be as much as it is. They've been facing live pitching, Bobby Miller, Blake Trinan, Anthony Banda. These guys are all throwing to the entire lineup basically so that they can see pitching. They also have a machine down in the batting cage that can simulate any starting pitcher as far as arm angle, curveballs,
That's crazy.
splitters, sliders, velocity, so they can get a lot of good work in the cage to try to see what these pitchers on the Blue Jays are going to look like. But moreover, rest is going to be the best thing for this starting pitching staff on the Dodgers. And you could argue this might be the best starting pitching staff we've seen by a World Series contender or team in decades. You're talking about what we've been calling here in Los Angeles, if you're a poker player, the 4 aces. Blake Snell, a 2-time Cy Young Award winner whose changeup has just been nasty this whole postseason, followed by Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who might finish second in the NL Cy Young voting behind Paul Skeens this year, followed by Tyler Glasnow, who has some of the highest whiff rate of any pitcher in the postseason, and then obviously Shohei Ohtani, the unicorn, will be starting Game 4. And we've seen just how dominant he is as a pitcher, and that's your 4 starting staff. And now you're giving him 6 extra days of that.
Michael Duarte, NBC LA. Michael, it's Cole here, and as Diesel said, man, we always appreciate you taking time to join us. Big fan of yours. Last year, for those Tolos that are out there listening and have not heard Michael before, just tell you how good of a guy Michael is. He joined us last year literally standing in the dugout of the World Series. So Michael's always willing to hop on with us. What you saw, Michael, a few days ago, last Friday night, what the world saw, I call the single greatest achievement, the single greatest individual sports accomplishment in the history of sports. How far off am I on? Or how far off am I on that in terms of what Shohei Ohtani did Friday night?
You are not far off. I wrote about it on NBC Los Angeles, talked about it live on air after the game. That, to me, as you were saying, because a lot of people get it confused, calling it the single greatest postseason game ever. What we want to be clear on that is it is the single greatest individual performance by one player in a postseason game in history. And look, I actually was sitting down with Jeff Passan of ESPN after that game to debate this very topic. He was trying to argue that there are some games from some starting pitchers. You'd have to go back to the 70s and 60s. One pitcher hit 2 grand slams in a game and threw a complete game. One pitcher had 3 home runs and threw a no-hitter. But those were all in the regular season. It was not the postseason. Yeah. It was not the same competition, the same stakes. It was not the same kind of players as you're facing now that are throwing 100 miles per hour as far as the pitching is concerned here in 2025. So to hit 3 home runs, and we're not just talking about shots that just barely cleared the fence. We're talking about moon shots, 470-foot blast that left Dodger Stadium entirely, the third furthest home run ever hit at Dodger Stadium in the modern era. So seemingly each getting deeper and deeper, and then to go out there and throw 6 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts, 10 punch-outs in a playoff game to send your team to the World Series. I've never seen anything like it. That's why he's the unicorn, and that's why he may go down as the GOAT as far as baseball teams are concerned.
Michael, do you think that Major League Baseball, the Dodgers, or even Shohei Ohtani himself are doing enough to market him as the potential worldwide megastar that he is? Like, we already know that he is arguably the best baseball player of all time, or right there in that conversation. But you would certainly see him transitioning into acting, into TV, into all these other things that other big time stars and celebrities have done in the past. Why is it that you think that Shohei isn't doing that, or is there a plan maybe after baseball is over to start transitioning, or is he just going to kind of retire and then go off and do his own thing?
That's a great question that you have. As far as I know, Shohei Ohtani specifically doesn't have any acting aspirations or being a star in Hollywood or anything here in Los Angeles after his career is done. From talking to him and my conversations with him and what we know about him is he plans probably, to still be an ambassador for the game, similar to Ichiro. You'll probably see him at Dodger Stadium from time to time. But his plan would be to move back to Japan, raise his children, his family there, and essentially be that same baseball ambassador you're talking about, but in Japan. I got the privilege of going to Tokyo for that Tokyo series between the Dodgers and Cubs to start opening day, I guess, for Major League Baseball over there back in March. And man, he's like a MasterCard over there. He's absolutely everywhere you want to be. He's on billboards. He's on your TV. He's at the airport. Like at least 20 or 30 different products Shohei Ohtani is endorsing in Japan. And we know all the ones he's endorsing here. There's a plethora of them here in Los Angeles and in the United States. So my guess is he's already very close to godlike status right now in Japan. My guess is after he retires, he goes there and becomes even bigger and becomes this global ambassador for the game of baseball as he tries to usher in the next generation of two-way players. And as you're already seeing just on the Dodgers in this World Series, Japanese takeover as far as baseball domination is concerned with Ohtani, with Yamamoto, and with their new closer, Roki Sasaki. You're seeing it. And I just really think it's going to open the floodgates for Japanese players to come into the Major League Baseball from across the globe. And the last thing I'll say is, if he might not have acting aspirations, I know Mookie Betts does. So that's one guy we can see on our cameras and TVs and maybe movies once his career is done.
Kind of reminds me of Nikola Jokic a little bit, Michael, on the NBA side of things, just in terms of his demeanor, his love for his country, right? And wanting to get back. It seems like Nikola Jokic would rather be there riding horses. So a little bit similar instance. Hey, Michael, want to get your thoughts on something that I was looking at last night. Depending on what book you're looking at here, if you go to MLB World Series odds, right? You look at the odds, or props rather, and you click correct score. Right now, the Dodgers to sweep and win the World Series 4-0 is plus 550. 550 plus 550 is a very, very good bet if you believe that will happen, obviously, but it's something a lot of people probably won't bet on just because of the odds and how much the odds are swung in one direction. However, I kind of like the Dodgers plus 550 to sweep just in terms of sprinkling a little something. Obviously not betting the house on the plus 50, the plus 550, but do you kind of feel the same way that as good as this pitching rotation is, we all know that Toronto's a really good club, but I just don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for the Dodgers to sweep.
Yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but I think the fact that history shows us the team that has that extra 6 days of rest compared to the team that rolls out of a game 7 and, heads straight to the field for the World Series. In this case, it's a little different. The American League starting first gets that extra day of rest. They're going to have 3 days of rest for the Blue Jays. We don't know how that's going to play into factors. So to just say the Dodgers are going to sweep I think it's tough to say, but look, they have the talent to do
Sure.
it. If the pitching dominates the way they did in the NLCS against the Brewers, I can absolutely see that because, the Brewers were the best team in baseball. Let's not forget. And they beat the Cubs in a 5-game series, a very emotional series, that's less than 90 minutes away on the freeway to get to those two stadiums. And the Dodgers just made them look like they were a minor league team. They just absolutely dominated them in those 4 games. And like you said, that's the best team in baseball. And not too long ago, the Jays came to Dodger Stadium, and the Dodgers were one 8th-inning implosion by Blake Trinan of their bullpen away from sweeping the Blue Jays at home. So you definitely could make a case for an argument with it. But because history has said the last 4 times this has happened like this, the team that played in that Game 7 went on to win. I would say bettors would be, if they want a good return on their investment, I think Blue Jays winning in 6 is like plus 750 right now. I think winning in 5, which I don't think is going to happen, is like plus 1,000. Those are some interesting bets. And here's another one for you, because I know you guys like to look at the line. Obviously, Shohei Ohtani is the favorite to win the World Series MVP at 2-1 after we saw. But what about a guy like Blake Snell?
Yeah.
Right? If this game goes 5, he would be pitching twice. And if he can dominate the way he's been doing the whole postseason, he's on a historic run, guys, as far as starting pitching is concerned. That's a guy that could earn 2 wins, maybe go 8-9 innings, a complete game in one of them or something. That's great odds. And then we're talking about last year's World Series MVP, Freddie Freeman, who just seems to own the World Series, even back when he was with the Braves in 2021. He's 10-1 right now, and he's the reigning World Series MVP. I like some bets on those guys as well.
Talking to Michael J. Duarte of NBC LA. Michael, it's kind of hard to pick, because once you get to this point, obviously these are all complete, really good baseball teams, top to bottom. But you look at that Blue Jays lineup, and there's a couple of guys right there in the middle of that batting order that are just monsters: Guerrero, Clement, Lukes. What is kind of keeping Dave Roberts up at night as he's trying to prep, game plan, and scheme for this Blue Jay team?
Yeah, great question. I think what's keeping him up at night is, who am I going to come out of the bullpen to get these righties out? And it may seem simple if you're the Dodgers. Okay, Blake Trinan is a guy who can do that. Roki Sasaki in the 9th. But Blake Trinan has been faltering. He is not the same dominant reliever that we saw in the postseason in 2024. And essentially, guys, it was Blake Trinan and like Michael Kopech that got unleashed on the murderer's row that the Yankees had last year with Stanton and Judge and that swing of righties. And so now you have a similar in Guerrero and Springer, as you mentioned. And I'm sure you're going to see trying a lot out of the bullpen in the 8th and 9th innings to get those guys. If those guys turn, the lineup comes up. But to me, that's a dangerous proposition. Like I said, that 3rd game on a Sunday at Dodger Stadium, just a couple months ago, they brought in Blake Trinan in the 8th, and he gave up back-to-back homers and blew that game, blew the save. And it was to Guerrero, I believe, it was one of them. So to me, that's nerve-wracking if you're the Dodgers. That's what keeps Dave Roberts up at night, and trying to figure out what's the final piece of your roster construction is probably a guy maybe like Edgardo Enriquez, a right-hander that throws 103 miles per hour. He was not on the NLCS roster or the DS roster, but he was on the wild card roster. Maybe he comes back because maybe you want him to face those righties at some point. That's the calculus right now if I'm Dave Roberts, is those big bats of the Blue Jays late in games. Remember, both these teams led the league in comebacks this year. Who are we going to get out of the bullpen to get those guys out?
Michael, this ride that the Dodgers are on right now, this run, if you will, with the talent they have, the payroll that they have, is it sustainable in your mind? Because what a time it is to be a Dodgers fan with all the talent. You mentioned the lineup. You mentioned the rotation. It just doesn't get better top to bottom. But as we continue to see Major League Baseball evolve, is this sustainable in your mind in terms of what the Dodgers are doing? Can they do this for a decade?
Well, they can do this for one more season until the new CBA gets negotiated, and maybe we're looking at a lockout in 2027. But yeah, it's sustainable. I mean, just look at the track record of the Dodgers: 13 consecutive postseason appearances. That's tied for the MLB record. 12 NL West division titles in those 13 years. This team has built a juggernaut, and they have sustained it throughout the course of many, many iterations of this team. Go back to that 2017 World Series team against the Houston Astros when they finally returned to the World Series for the first time since 1988. Other than Kershaw, there's not many same familiar, same faces on this Dodgers roster. These are new guys. Cody Bellinger's gone. Josh Peterson's gone. Corey Seager is gone. Chris Taylor is gone. I think just PK Hernandez and Clayton Kershaw are the two players that are still around from those 2017-18 teams. Now you have this new iteration with Shohei Ohtani and Blake Snell and Yamamoto and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman that are pushing this current run, this current dynasty that has an opportunity to win 3 World Series in the last 6 years. But if you look at who's potentially not on the team next year, right, it's guys like Michael Conforto, who's not even been on the postseason roster at all. Guys like Kirby Yates, who has not been on the postseason roster at all, who are on 1-year deals. Max Muncy has an option. I'm sure the Dodgers would pick that up. PK Hernandez is on a 1-year deal. They'd probably bring him back if he's fit for October. So I don't see this team losing big pieces that could stop this run or derail this train from coming off the track anytime soon. But to that same point, if they initiate a salary cap in 2027 and maybe the Dodgers, or they change the rules, the Dodgers aren't able to build the juggernaut and spend the kind of money that these big market teams can, then maybe that could change things. But I see the players union pushing back on that. So I do think this is sustainable, at least for the next 8 years, which is the duration of Shohei Ohtani's contract.
Michael, my last question here for you. You know, as you live and work around LA and you're kind of all over town, who amongst this Dodgers roster are truly men of the people that you would see out in LA, and who are kind of the more private guys who stick to themselves?
Yeah, and this is another thing we talked about with one of your earlier questions. Shohei Ohtani, you know, you asked about maybe his post-career aspirations. He is such a private guy. He's not out in the public. You don't see him at sporting events. You don't see him, you know, at restaurants or in the clubs or anything like that. He's almost an enigma to us, right? He's the face of baseball globally, but we feel like we don't know enough about him personally. We don't know a lot about his private life. Shoot, just a couple of spring training, he announced he was married and no one even knew he was dating anybody or engaged. That's how secretive he is with his personal life. So he's a guy that you don't see out. He's not a man of the people, but he is the face of the league. Mookie Betts is a guy that comes to mind. He's always out and about at Lakers games, at restaurants. He's producing movies. He's in TV shows. He's doing guest spots. He's a guy that's out everywhere. And Blake Snell's another guy. Obviously, this is his first season in Los Angeles playing for LA, but he wanted to live here with his wife, his family, and children here. That was a big part of why he signed here in the offseason. I've seen him at Rams games. I just saw him at the Lakers sitting courtside last night. So Blake Snell is slowly becoming a man of the people. And if he were to help the Dodgers go back-to-back for the first time since the Yankees in the year 2000 in the World Series, he'll become an even greater man of the people, and he'll be able to go anywhere and not have to pay for a single thing.
You're exactly right. Michael, you're the best, man. We appreciate you. My last request is, look, I'm not asking for a full interview. I know you're busy. You're the man. You'll be covering the World Series. But if I send you a StreamYard link during your coverage of the World Series pregame from wherever you are, the press box, the field, the restroom in the dugout, wherever, can we get like 2 minutes from Michael Duarte on our live stream so we can see where you are and we'll almost feel like we're there as well?
100%. As long as I can pull it up on my phone, you got
yes.
it. We're done.
Love it.
Lock it in.
You're the
Whether
man.
we do Friday, Saturday in Toronto at the Rogers Center or here in LA, 3 through 5.
You're the
tell
man.
me when and where, and we'll make it happen.
Michael, so much appreciate you.
You guys have a great show.
You too.
Thanks, Mike.
Enjoy the World Series as well.
Michael Duarte, NBCLA. Fantastic stuff. I love having Michael on, man. He is the best.
Yeah.
He really is. I mean, that's
wealth of knowledge,
yeah.
Incredibly generous with his time. You love having guys like that on.
Diesel, I believe we are going to have an upset pick entry from the Leprechaun of Lyman in the very next segment if the Leprechaun does not disappear or hiddly-hoo during the commercial break. We'll see if that happens next on the Fan Upstate.
with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
A little bit of breaking news today. We already heard that the one coach from college baseball is heading to the MLB with Tennessee, and Tony Vitello heading to San Francisco. Breaking news during the last segment. Florida baseball has announced that head coach Kevin O'Sullivan is taking a leave of absence to deal with personal and family issues. So both Florida and Tennessee in the same day when it comes to college baseball. That is huge. Wild to see. However, we have Leprechaun of Lyman in the building. He has graced us with his presence, and I don't know how to properly introduce the Leprechaun of Lyman other than saying, here's the Leprechaun of Lyman and his upset pick.
Why, a very Ingalls-like hiddly-hoo to you boys. I'm tickled green and gold to be sitting with you on the air today. I don't have a poem today. Me boys are on a bye week, so there'd be no point. But I do have an upset pick. Like a gambling addict, I'm stuck in this rut of thinking, if I just pick this big one and hit, then I could start picking all the little ones to catch up. So I'm picking another big one and throwing me pot of gold on it. Give me UCLA plus 25.5 over the less talented state team, Indiana. I have good reason. UCLA is on a 3-game winning streak. They have momentum and a chance to prove that they have their next coach already coaching on the team. If they defeat the likes of Indiana, it's a done deal. That's all I've got for you boys. Go Irish! We're always going to be better than any team in SC.
Well, that's not hard right now, being better than
gone.
those South Carolina teams. That's good stuff. Leprechaun of Lyman getting in. Only a 25.5. Is that right, Diesel? 25.5 points?
25.5. And normally he just drops the call. He mic drops. Today. He threw his headset across the room.
He did. And he's already standing on the pumpkins, and now he's bouncing from the pumpkins to the cabbage. The Leprechaun of Lyman. Appreciate you, man.
Love it. Love it. Tolos,
That's
keep
good.
those upset picks coming. 844-326-3663. Silly Gooses is in, though we don't know the identity of the Silly Goose.
No.
John
no
Dog
idea.
is in. He's taking Ole Miss over Oklahoma plus 4.5. How about that Oklahoma, the swing from being massively favored last week against the Gamecocks to being the underdogs against Ole Miss this week. We'll see if that defense can stand up 2 weeks in a row and take down old Trinidad Chambliss.
I think that's an interesting game, and I do predict, Diesel, that one to be picked a good bit more on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line and the Upset Picks Challenge brought to you by Ingalls Markets. I really think that's going to be a popular one. I do think, though, what RJ and Delvin and a few others went with Cal and Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
I still think that one's going to be the leader in the clubhouse when it's all said and done. The 4.5, 5.5, whatever it is. I know that's not a tremendous amount of points, but that's the one. I have not made my pick, but that's the one that I'm leaning towards. I'm still waiting on a quarterback to have an ankle injury. Has that happened yet, by the way?
That's your only hope, is it?
Yeah,
Is it?
that's what had happened last week.
Yeah.
By the way, who'd you pick?
I took App State
That's
plus 12.5, plus 14.5 over Old Dominion. And it seems right now, Cole, like that might be one of the most popular picks. And now I feel bad about it. Now I feel like it's not going to happen.
App State, huh?
App State plus 14.5. Again, look, App State's got a really good running back, even though he some weeks he doesn't show up, or Dal Loggins tries to get cute and not use the best player on his offense in a time when they really could use that guy. But Old Dominion has a god-awful rush defense. I think number 125, 124 in the country. So if you could get that running back hot, then, you could run away with it early. That's going to be an interesting game to watch. A big emotional loss last week. Will App State let Coastal beat them twice, or can they bounce back? That's going to be a big question.
Real quick, Diesel, before we run off the break, for Tolos out there that are expecting to hear Melissa's moment at 5, we did it at 3:20 today.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some audio and upset picks and some other news to get to in the very next segment. However, if you want to hear Melissa's moment, you can at thefanupstate.com. John our producer back in the Ingles Market Studios, has archived that for you. So no Melissa's Moment at 5. We already had it at 3:20. You can also go on the free Odyssey app and find it that way as well.
Gus Mosley, now the second of 3 Mosleys, getting in his upset pick. He's going Northwestern plus 8.5 over Nebraska, with apologies to Dan B. Picking against his Nebraska Cornhuskers. Brandon Burnett, we got you. John Dog, let's see, Silly Gooses, Marvy Marv, John Corley, keep them coming, Tolos. And here's Pac Fan Shuff, now making the third Tolo, taking UCLA plus 25.5 over Indiana.
There's no way that happens, right?
We're at that point of the season, though, Cole, where people are just saying blanket, we're just going to go for it with the big spreads. When we come back, Cole, let's do this, a little mini audio blitz, and you've got some news about how professional athletes are going to be allowed to play college ball. A wild development with this sport. We'll talk about it next.
Clear.
We got a gentleman pointing at us saying, "Who are you?" Well, who are you?
It's Diesel.
Who do you think I am? And who'd they tell you I was?
Diesel.
Yeah.
He got it.
It's right here. It's right here.
You do have a cheat.
Yeah,
I don't have
he
one of
doesn't
those
have his on.
fancy
He
shirts.
doesn't have his
Diesel
on.
has a lot of money. He's rich.
Shout out to
Billy.
Yeah, Billy, who stopped by. He's South Carolina Gamecock fan who drove down to Columbia to watch that drubbing last week. Sorry that you had to burn your gas on that one, Billy, but it is what it is. Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Cole Bryson. My name is Diesel. Upset Picks Challenge is live, and we got Tolos getting in their upset picks. Every couple of seconds, we have a new one coming to us, so keep texting them, 844-326-3663.
Also, shout out to Evan. I forgot to shout out Evan. Evan came by earlier.
Yep,
he listens. He said he turns it on and leaves it on. Billy, when I walked up to him, the only thing he said was Tolo, turn on, leave on. Billy from Greer, he loves the show. A huge turnout today. I don't think we've ever had this many Tolos come by the store. I've already lost count.
Maybe
seven or eight.
Yeah. Keep them coming. We're going to be here for another 2 hours.
We've run out of gift cards, unfortunately.
1524 Locust Hill Road in Greer. I love coming to this store, Cole. It's always busy.
It is.
There's always a bunch of Tolos that stop by and see us, and we love to see it. Keep coming out every single time we're on location.
We don't have any gift cards left, but these will give you a hug.
Well, yeah, I will. And it'll be a long hug, okay? I'll hug you for about 4 Mississippi count longer than you want me to hug you. That's how this is going to work if you come by here. So that'll be the prize for swinging by at this point in the show.
I see the cars turning around now. There's a wreck.
Who just slammed on the brakes outside? That's not cool.
Do you want audio first, or do you want this new story on college basketball first?
Let's hear in what new way they are destroying college athletics.
This
Just
is
one hit
unbelievable.
after another in this sport.
So, Tolos, if you hadn't heard this comes from Joe Tipton of On3 Sports Diesel. This is wild. Breaking-ish. It's been evolving the last few days, but just within the last few days, Joe Tipton tweets out, G League, which is like the minor league of NBA. We know that, right? G League players, Diesel, can now play college basketball. On Monday, we saw G League guard London Johnson commit to Louisville. Previously, the NCAA didn't allow pro players to play in college. The idea was that college athletes had to be amateurs, no salary, no pro contracts, etc. NIL and revenue share changed this. So now, Diesel, once players could get paid, the old line between amateur and pro blurred. Most G League players outside of the Ignite program are not earning big money, like $40K a year is what G Leaguers are earning. The NCAA now views that salary as covering actual and necessary expenses like living cost, travel, housing, etc. Players who are making above the necessary expenses have to pay back the difference. So that argument makes it plausible that these players aren't truly professional in the way the old rule defined it. So under this new approach, the G League players could be approved for college basketball if they're still within 5 years of high school graduation. The main thing that jeopardizes eligibility is if they've gone through the NBA draft process or previously signed an NBA contract. It's similar to the what we've seen with professional international players, Diesel, going to college basketball, but the NCAA basically admitted that it's impossible to keep defining who's pro, who's amateur. NIL and school rev share already mean players are being compensated. So letting G League players come back does not violate fairness anymore. And now G League players can play college basketball.
Oh, God. Oh,
Is
God.
this not wild?
So now are they saying that the G League season doesn't run congruent with college basketball season, i.e. they can play in two different leagues, like essentially be a college athlete at Louisville and an NBA or G League NBA employee for whoever in the summer, right? You could play college basketball in the winter, you can play G League basketball in the summer and still maintain your college eligibility. Is that what they're saying, or Are they going to set it up so that essentially what we've all always kind of known is that college athletics is the minor league for professional ball? Would this kind of render the G League moot?
Yeah, they do overlap a little bit,
Okay.
which I would assume means it's not just a simple case of G League ends, then college begins, or vice versa. So you have approximately, Diesel, college basketball beginning on November 3rd, right?
Okay.
The regular season ends around March 15th. The G League, they started their tip-off around November 8th. The regular season started in late December, playoffs into April. So they do overlap. I do believe, Diesel, if a player's under contract in the G League during its season, they are effectively in season in a professional league.
Okay.
So I believe it's more on the line of they've signed a contract, they're not playing, but they can play college if they want to go back to college to make money.
This feels like the college baseball system, where you can get drafted out of high school and playing high school baseball and say, you know what, no, I'm going to go play college ball instead. But you've been drafted by whoever,
Sure. Yeah.
but you're still playing high school ball, or you've been drafted after your freshman year, but you don't like where you were drafted, so you come back to college ball. And then you didn't like where you're drafted at the end of your sophomore year, you come back and play college ball. So you're kind of under contract, but you're not really under. This is confusing, man. I don't understand this at all. But I don't like it.
No, I'm with you. So I'm reading more into it, and it's wild. To your point, evidently, Diesel, there was a recent case where a player named Theory Darlin spent 2 seasons in the G League.
Okay.
Then was granted eligibility to play Division I college basketball. The NCAA's decision in his case rested on a few factors: his age, how many years removed from high school he was, and how the NCAA evaluated his professional experience. The NCAA noted that although he had played professionally, his salary and the timing made the waiver acceptable. So we know that they normally could not until this new news has broken that now they can. It's the loosening of strictness, I guess, on amateurism, Diesel, in some cases, especially for a lot of these international players. But it's fascinating because you still have to meet like NCAA requirements, right?
Yeah.
GPA, et cetera. But it's continuing to develop, and what a wild sport this is.
What I'm not surprised by, and really what the driver of all of this is that you can make more money playing college ball than you can playing in the G League. Not all, but most college stars, the best of the best playing at the top 25, 30 programs or so, they're making more money playing college ball than they would playing in the G League. And those guys who kind of said, I don't really want to go play college ball, I want to go off and be a professional right away, they're looking at their paychecks and saying, this isn't enough money, man. I don't like this. I want to go back and play college ball. It's really going to be interesting, Cole, if you said it's essentially a $40,000 cap. If you're making less than that,
Sure,
you can go play college ball instead. I mean, are they going to allow these guys to be getting paid $39.5 by the G League and get money from their NIL at the same time? So they essentially going to have 2 employers. And then how does the G League team and on top of that, their NBA counterpart, how are they coaching that guy to sort of start preparing him for his NBA career? This is really fascinating. You could kind of have essentially 2 coaches or 2 bosses at the same time.
And what's sad about it, before we get to the phone lines real quick, where Tom stands by in Somerville, what really is saddening about it, Diesel, the conversation we've had multiple times now, this is just another barricade that blocks a high school senior of being recruited the right way. This is what, it's sad that we're continuing to see more obstructions for high school seniors. And coaches now, you heard Patino talk about it last year. Why even go after high school kids now?
Yeah,
it sucks.
It does. It's an erosion of the core that made college athletics special and what it was. I never wanted for Congress or Washington to have to get involved in this. Now I think they have to. That is the only way to provide
Yeah, I'm with
any kind of teeth to create their own rules and legally back their own rules. But you and I both know that, Congress is feckless. They can't get anything done. So why would we expect them to get this done?
Let's go to Tom in Somerville, South Carolina. Tom, what's up, man?
Oh, Tom, hang on one second. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tom.
Okay. Hey, guys, I'm glad y'all are talking about this G League rule. I've been talking to some buddies about this a lot today, and Joe Tipton on Twitter put out a very easy to read and easy to understand breakdown of this rule. So, and I sent it to you guys on Twitter, and y'all get some time, want to read it.
It's like 12 tweets long, Tom. How is that easy?
It's pictures.
Well, when you actually read it, it's very easy to understand.
Okay.
Tom, by the way, Tom, I literally just read this entire thread on the show.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
My bad. I called the end of y'all talking about it. So, yeah, whether you like it or not, I don't think we should go down this road as a pro NIL as I am and all that. But at the same time, when you're bringing in kids from the international league, it's the same thing over there. It does hurt high school recruiting, but at the same time, if you want to build a basketball program and you have the opportunity to do so with older guys, if I'm Lamont Paris, I am calling every G League kid I can who I know will be eligible to play college basketball. Whether it's international or G League, it is another avenue for coaches to get older and to get better quick. But there's a lot of gray area here. And if you go through the draft process, from my understanding, that's where things get even more complicated. And you have to go through the approval process. But if you don't go through the draft process, then it allows you to be eligible to leave the G League and come back to college. And like Joe Tipton said, if you're making over 40 grand, there are some caveats involved there as well.
Okay.
It's a mess. It's a mess of where we're at. But at the same time, I think it will ultimately be good for college basketball.
Yeah, but Tom, you know how this has gone. You've seen how NIL has escalated just in the short 3-4 years.
Yeah.
It's been a thing, and maybe the number right now is 40,000 until somebody sues and says, well, we need that number to be 50,000, and then they sue and say, well, if you put any restriction whatsoever on how much money we can make and not come back to NCAA, then we're going to take you to court, we're going to sue, and we're going to win. So you know as well as I do, Tom, that this 40,000 is just a jumping off point. It's just a number that they chose out of the ether, and it's going to be rendered moot in a matter of minutes, really, in a matter of weeks and months.
Oh, I agree that number's going up because you got high school kids asking for 2.5 on the lower end in high school. My other thing is the NCAA is just such a corrupt organization. And then you go and they come out and say they have no future plan to change eligibility for 5 years today. I don't know if y'all saw that, but I'm like, they're so hypocritical in everything they do. They make a stand on one thing and then just leave the floodgates open for the next.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense. The SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, the ACC just come together, leave the NCAA altogether. It's a corrupt organization that does nothing for anybody. Just branch out, do your own thing, and it would make this thing a whole lot better.
Tom, thanks for the call, man.
Go Gamecock!
Well, look, it is not an enviable position to be in if you are Mark Emmert for president of the NCAA, because you don't have any teeth. How do you set any rule whatsoever if your only choice is to get out of the way? It's like what we see a lot as games kind of come down to the wire. You see defenses just get out of the way and let the other team score because that's their only hope to get the ball back quickly. It feels like that's what's going on with the NCAA. Their only choice right now, Tom, and all the other Tolos listening, is to get out of the way, let these high school athletes make, a ton of money, let G League players go play college ball, let athletes, football players extort universities for millions of dollars. Their hope is to let it get so out of control that Congress, and again, I think that's the only thing that can put any kind of legal strictures on this. Again, I don't want them to have to be involved, but I think they have to be involved.
Yeah.
They have to let it get crazy so that someone will step in and say, all right, enough is enough. We're going to turn this car around.
It is. It's a crazy time. But, again, what do we say, Diesel? What have we said for so many years now? It's a slippery slope that we're seeing. And we all knew this. It's just cause effect, right? All right, so here's the deal. I've got a mini audio blitz coming at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, a little mini audio blitz, but one teaser before we get into Bill Bender. Diesel, this is not sports related. This is one of those off-the-wall random audio clips. And I wanted to throw this at you just to get your reaction.
Is this audio from Kohler explaining why we should spend $600 on toilet cameras?
No, that's at 6 o'clock. Okay, please
Don't
hold
jump
that
the gun.
Yeah, that's just coming up at 6. That's still nasty, by the way. So audio blitz at 6. We're also going to get into other things at 6 o'clock as well. We've got Bill Bender coming up. But do you know who Harley Carmichael is?
I've heard the name, but I can't place it off the top of my
He
head.
is going viral. Looks like a guy off the street. And he's going viral for his brisket speech. So he enters a brisket cook-off. Okay. When you take your brisket to the judges in this particular contest, you explain what you did. You give your name. Hey, this is Diesel. Glad to be here. I used multi-blend seasoning this week with my brisket, yada, yada, yada. Okay? You on the same page?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Harley Carmichael did not take that approach. I want your reaction, Diesel. Here we go. If it's good, you guys are bad judges.
Oh my God.
Sometimes you it's kind of like Dewey. You hear audio clips like this and you ask yourself, is this real or am I being played?
Now I'm thinking about Dewey in a public speaking role, and you're right. That's Dewey in a public speaking role.
It is. It's like, what are we doing here?
Wow.
He hit the curb, short of this breaker, forgot he needed the cutting board, forgot he needed you never know. You never know. Diesel, it's time to get into it with the absolute best. Bill Bender, The Sporting News. Bill's next right here on the Fan Upstate. whether it's Skyline Chili or Donato's Pizza, Bill Bender is your man. Bill Bender of The Sporting News joins the show every single Wednesday at this very time, and it's time to talk a little college football with Bill Bender. Nothing to talk about, Bill. No coaches being canned, no rumors, no hot seats. I guess we'll just talk about Skyline Chili for 2 hours, right? Bill, you got us? Let's try that again. 3, 2, 1.
I'm here.
Sorry about that.
I'm here.
Hey, Bill, your reaction to the latest with Billy Napier being fired over the weekend?
Coming, right? Like it's been talked about for so long. When the pot finally starts boiling, it happens. There are now 7 Power 4 openings, which is a lot for this stage of the game. And we ranked them earlier this week. Everybody ranks them, but all these jobs, they're tentative. Like Florida has had several coaches that haven't lasted more than 4 years since Urban Meyer left. I believe it's 4 now. So this would be their 5th coach since Urban Meyer left. That's you're not building continuity at that point.
It's true.
Bill, I'm going to go quasi National Geographic on you here for just a second. College coaches' salaries are huge. Buyouts are huge. Do you think that paradigm is like a lobster whose growth is indeterminate, meaning it can continue to grow indefinitely? Or do you think eventually we'll have to reach some sort of stasis point where the tippy top of buyouts is X, the tippy top of salaries is Y, and it's probably not going to go much higher than that?
Yeah, well, that's a heck of an analogy, but it's not bad, right? Like I'll give it to you. I don't watch a lot of National Geographic anymore. I started watching the Netflix Expos documentary last night. You want to talk about depressing for those of us who grew up with baseball in the 80s and 90s, that 94 Expos team. But to answer your question, get on task. The buyouts, I wonder if we're going to redirect those coaching salaries, and they do go down, and the buyouts do go down because they are absurd numbers. And I think for the average college football fan, not that they're going to stop watching, but I don't think there's too many people that say, oh, that's great that they're paying him $49 million.
Bill, you hinted at it a minute ago. See if I can get my words right there. In terms of the 7 Power 4 job openings, did you say you ranked those earlier in the week? And if so, can you share that list with us? How do you view the current openings?
Well, I think it comes down to a question. Do you think Penn State or Florida is a better opening? Now, to me, if I was coaching, I would probably go to Penn State. I know there's geographic. It's different. I know in Florida, you're going to get top 10 recruiting classes, but like I said, they press reset all the time. So how much time do I have to win in a conference that has 10 ranked teams versus at Penn State right now? I mean, this season notwithstanding,
that's a good point.
They've shown they can win 10 games. And who, when you're trying to recruit kids, which I would use is, hey, turn on your TV. Saquon Barkley played here. Micah Parsons played here. Those two are pretty good.
Yeah.
And go on from there. So, plus, in the Big Ten, I think you just have a better shot at being one of those top 4 teams on an annual basis than you do right now at Florida, even though the advantage at Florida is, even with their struggles the last 5 years, their average recruiting class is top 10. You're going to get good players there.
Bill, among the schools that have already let their coaches go, who in your mind is doing the best job, or maybe is set up to do the best job in the future to retain as many of the recruits they already have committed? Or is it ultimately a moot point and it doesn't matter because the right coach is going to be able to portal as many guys in as he wants?
Yeah, I think, it's too early to say with Penn State and Florida. I mean, Florida just fired a coach, so hard to make a value judgment there. But, after that, I think you look at the rest of the jobs, who can make it work at Arkansas? Do they actually give Bobby Petrino the job? I had a hard time if UCLA or Stanford was a better job. UCLA is in the 10, of course. Stanford with Andrew Luck, he has a plan, clearly, and they showed that they have some fight. They were behind on the NIL game, but they just beat Florida State. That's a program I would like the direction and wouldn't mind, being a coach that works for a guy like Andrew Luck, who clearly has a plan for that program. By the way, Andrew Luck reminds me of the coach for. He's got some Jim Harbaugh in him, and that can be a good thing.
Can you talk about Tim Skipper, Bill, and when you look at what Jerry Neuheisel's doing, Jerry is getting 99% of the attention, it seems, but Tim Skipper, UCLA, I mean, what do they do in your mind when this season's all said and done?
I think they should just retain him right at this rate. And,
Skipper?
And if you can retain Neuheisel, you kind of, both of them. I mean, I think being cautious about trying to say that Jerry Neuheisel is a head coach. He's never been a head coach.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're Tim Skipper, he hasn't complained, but at this point, be like, just do that arrangement. And then if obviously Jerry Neuheisel and his father have strong ties to UCLA, with Rick being the great quarterback that he was there in the Rose Bowl and everything. And but I mess with what they're playing really good football. The marriage between head coach, OC, and quarterback with Nico's working out, and they've won 3 in a row. I'll really be interested to see where they're at when they play Ohio State here in a couple weeks.
Ooh. Talking to Bill Bender at BillBender92 on Twitter. Find him, give him a follow. Big controversy struck earlier this week, and we talked about it to start our show today with Todd Furman from CBS poo-pooing the inclusion of USF and Georgia Tech in the college football playoff because ratings wouldn't be great. Now, I know this is kind of a thought experiment looking at a dystopian future, but it doesn't seem like it's that far away. Does viewership potential in your mind have any role whatsoever in the future of college football playoff, whether it be used as a determining factor to get in, seeding, TV time slot selection, etc.?
I don't think it would. Once you have the field, it absolutely influences what game goes where. I mean, that's the way it is, right? Like, you put the best matchup in prime time. But as far as that with him on turn, it depends on what you land on. Like, if that was the matchup, fewer people are going to watch it. So that's what we live in. Like, I like a fair tournament. I'm kind of committed to it. I had this argument today. I said, if you're asking me, I would rather watch Alabama, Ohio State, the Blue Bloods. One of the favorite games, in the last 5 years is a couple of years when Alabama and Georgia were playing. I was like, there's 25 NFL guys on the field. How can you not love this? Texas, Ohio State in the semifinals. I want to watch those games at the end. But if we have some good stories along the way, that's fine. But I think I will say this, and you might not like this opinion. Fans like to rally around Indiana and Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech. Get to the quarterfinals, they start to complain that they're in there. That's the contradictory part of this.
Bill, I want your reaction to this audio, just in case you have not heard it yet, pertaining to Arch Manning and being big. Is that where we are now on the 22nd of October, that we're asking Arch Manning if or how he would react if he were to be benched?
Yeah, I mean, I like his answer there. I tell that to my kids. I tell that to myself every day. You can only control what you can control. You can't control other people and what they write or what they ask. But, Arch, I wrote that 2 weeks ago before the Red River game. He's fine. He'll develop into a good quarterback, and he just needs more experience. Is he Peyton and Eli combined yet? No, but they're still in the playoff, and they just got to continue that this week and getting into the Vanderbilt game next week. Which who knew Vanderbilt Texas would be the game that it's going to be next week? So, but yeah, I'm with you, and you guys didn't answer my question from the last one. Like, what do you think with the Indiana factor? Do you believe that college football fans sometimes get on the bandwagon, and then when that's the end result, we get the complaints when they're in those games?
No, you're right, Bill. And to my point, or to my previous question, I think Todd Furman is right as well. I don't want him to be right. It's a bad place to be, but you see it in the NCAA tournament every year. People love the idea of
That's right.
Cinderellas, but once that Cinderella gets to the Sweet 16 and beyond,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, that was cute. We really want to see the big brands go at it.
That's
So
right.
as much as we all may hate it, it is true.
Do you do that? I don't watch college baseball as much. Do you guys do that in college baseball too?
No, not really. I mean, kind of. You go look at the Cinderellas in college baseball; they're celebrated. I mean, Coastal Carolina, a few years back, that run they had locally, with it being a local tie, it was celebrated in a huge way, and they were even back in. What was we're having We're having some kind of issues.
Yeah, we may have to shut it off.
Is that?
It's like it fried.
I know that didn't sound good, did it?
No. Do we have a backup, Comrex? We need one.
Well, it's working now, but it does.
Yeah.
I have an echo. Do you have an echo?
I hear an echo on you. I don't hear myself at all. I don't have any. Well, okay. Now that I give myself a little more volume, I can hear. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Try to connect. All right, John, can you hear us?
Yes.
Can you? Is Bill still on the phone?
Yes, he is.
All right, just pause this and cut back to us live, just right after
Okay.
this.
Yeah. Okay. Let me
Hey,
go.
hey, Bill. Do we still have you? Bill, can you hear us?
Yeah. Hold on. Okay, Mike is hot.
Hey, Bill Bender, can you hear us?
I'm still here.
There you are.
Sorry
about
about that, man.
Bill. We just had our Comrex
no
system
problem.
essentially just fry on us, and we got
I
reset.
told Diesel to quit pouring alcohol on the Comrex, but for whatever reason, he thinks when we're on location, you have to pour alcohol on the Comrex.
Hey, we're all here for a good time, and the Comrex should be involved.
Sorry about that. Where were we, Bill? Where were we?
Well, you guys were talking about college baseball and the Cinderella
Oh,
factor.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's where we're at. And this new environment though, where everybody's kind of good and the talent's been dispersed a little bit. But I can tell you right now, it's made it harder to predict the game. There's no question. You really gotta. I've been struggling against the spread all season. Now, there's instances like last week when Michigan State kicked a field goal to lose 38-13 at the buzzer, but you can't control those. Like we just said with Arch, control what you can control.
Bill, I'm sure fans in Columbia, South Carolina, and in Gainesville are laughing at the irony that Clemson and Florida State sue the ACC. They get what they want. They get more money, or they get uneven revenue distribution. But as soon as they get that, their seasons tank, respectively. Both of them are awful this year. As far as what you know about the ACC revenue distribution model and ratings, do you expect that the Georgia Techs of the world, that the Dukes of the world could use that money and sort of establish more of a foothold, or will that sort of relative lack of additional money really not bother Clemson and Florida State all that much?
I don't think it bothers them yet. I still think the ACC has a chance to be fine. And by be fine, like the SEC obviously is drawing the big TV ratings, has the most college football playoff contenders, all of that. The Big Ten probably feels the most like the NFL, the coast to coast now. And you got games on the West Coast in every time zone, but the Mountain Time Zone. The Big 12 is really fun, the parity. And the ACC, I think, is in a good spot. And partially because Miami, last week notwithstanding, good. Florida State's good. Some of these other programs. Louisville is pushing up. And as long as they keep Jeff Brom, they're going to be fine. Clemson having a bad year, but look what they've done for the conference, and SMU. So I do think there's some stability, more stability, obviously, than there was 5 years ago. And then if a program like North Carolina ever got its act together, you'd have somebody else doing it. So I don't worry about that. I think they're going to be good for 2 playoff berths most seasons, maybe 3 when we go to 16. And if that's the case, they'll be fine.
Bill, let me ask you this, man. To bring it local, Diesel mentioned South Carolina there. How does the national media and the rest of the country outside of South Carolina view what's happening in Columbia? Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks had a really good season a year ago, had a couple of missed opportunities where they feel like they could have been in the college football playoff. You bring back Lenora Sellers and you fast forward 7 games, you're 3-4 on the season. How does national media view what's happening in Columbia right now? Because here locally, it's not good, Bill.
Well, it shouldn't be. The offense hasn't been good. And that's been the stunner for me that, they were supposed to have a pretty good offense. And, the Vanderbilt game was really the first eye-opener that, hey, maybe they're not that good and the offense hasn't gotten better. Dylan Stewart's certainly been a standout on the defensive side, but their defense hasn't been like lights out. Mm-hmm. So, and they are in a conference now where there's 16 teams. This is what we wanted. Every year we're going to have this. We're going to have the year that they're having where they were ranked really high and work out. I mean, the Big Ten's got a couple teams like that right now. Penn State, they can relate right now. Things aren't going well in Happy Valley, and they could end up, they were number 2 in the country, and if you look at their schedule, they're probably going to be like 6-6. So, this is going to happen every year, especially in the SEC and the Big Ten. You're going to have teams that lose a lot more games than they should.
Well, Bill, I can report that our leader lost a point last week because he finally got a pick wrong, but he's still sitting at 69 total points on the season. I think he's still got like a 17-point lead on second place. It's just absurd. Can we get your upset pick for this week?
I think I got one right last week, right? Did I take Tech as a small one? Or did I not? I don't remember. I think I took Georgia Tech.
That sounds right. Yeah.
I got Ole Miss beating Oklahoma.
Ooh,
okay.
Lane Kiffin, because if they lose that game, then when I come on the show next week, we're going to talk a lot about Lane Kiffin rumors and what's next for him and all that because of all those openings. But if they win, you could probably lightly pencil them into the college football playoff. Big moment for Ole Miss. I'll go with the Rebels on the road.
Bill, can you also pencil Lane Kiffin in Gainesville?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they lose at Oklahoma, things can get weird.
Yeah. Bill, you're the best, man. We appreciate you as always, pal.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Bill. What a pro. Sticking with us while we had our technical issues. And
yeah, mine still sounds
it does still a little wonky.
Does yours sound funky?
It does.
What did you do to it? It sounds like we're in space to me right now. I hope it doesn't sound that way over the air, but it I don't know. I'm gonna blame Evan, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get it squared away though for the very next segment, or at least we'll try. When we come back, Cole, we are in that time of the year where you kind of get a little wonky, you get a little weird, you start thinking about rivalry games that are coming up. I want to do a little tier listing, the best trophy game trophies in college football. That's next.
Clear.
to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
I don't know what it is about Big Ten games, Cole, but basically every Big Ten game from October onward is a trophy game. There is something trading hands between these programs. Let's do a little tier listing, Cole. And I'm not going to do like A, B, C, D, but we're going to go Heisman tier, 10 win tier, barely bowl eligible tier, and they're just trying way too hard. How about that?
Okay.
Let's do this. Let's start with what is called, and you can see pictures of this, Cole, in that link that I put on the rundown. We'll start with the Iron Skillet between SMU and TCU. Is this a cool trophy, or is it just kind of a lame tchotchke that they trade hands?
Iron Skillet.
And it's exactly what it sounds like. It is
cast
a
iron
frying
skillet. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I mean, I love it. I love a cast iron skillet. I've always said the best steak that you can make at home, even better than a grill, is on a cast iron skillet. But that's weird.
Is that in this tier list? Where is it? Is that 10 win? Is that barely bowl eligible?
I'd say barely bowl eligible.
Okay.
You're holding a pan? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Let's move down the list to the Golden Egg that is given to the winner of the Ole Miss versus Mississippi State game.
I like that. I like it a lot. I just hate Diesel that they moved the game. It had its place, and it should have always been the night before or the night. What is it? The night of Thanksgiving? Is that right? Thanksgiving night. And I love the Golden Egg. I have no problem with it. I think it's one of the best in college football.
So Heisman tier, Heisman
like
Golden Egg, going Heisman tier. Let's move down to called the Illybuck. It is a giant wooden tortoise that is given to the winner of Illinois versus Ohio State.
Weird.
They used to trade back and forth a real tortoise, but it died. And then they decided, you know what? Let's not do that anymore. Let's just make a wooden replica.
It's
Illybuck.
weird. I don't like it. Not a fan. I'm looking at the picture.
Okay.
Definitely not a fan of that one.
Okay, where would you put it?
I'd probably go trying too hard.
Illybuck is going in trying too hard. Sorry, all you Ohio State fans. Clearly, Cole hates your team, and you should all boycott and come after him. Here's a cool one, Cole. It's actually a really, really weird one. Chief Cato, I think I'm saying that right. Chief Cato. It is a trophy given to the winner of Northwestern State versus Stephen F. Austin, and it looks like a giant cigar store Indian.
It does. I love it. Unfortunately, if they still do this, they can count their days. They won't do it for long. It'll be considered, woke or whatever they call it. They'll figure out a way to ban it. But that's dope. I like it a lot. I like the Chief.
Okay, 10 win or
Heisman? I'd go 10 win.
Okay.
Yep.
Next up, Cole. Next trophy we're looking at. This one is it's the Troll, given to the winner of Concordia Moorhead versus St. Olaf.
That's the worst one.
It is. It's a wooden platform with like a little foot-tall troll thing.
It looks
attached to
so weird, Diesel. That's the worst. Trying way too hard. Are you
Trying
kidding me?
way too hard.
Ooh.
Okay, let's go to an oldie but a goldie, the Little Brown Jug between the winner of Michigan and Minnesota.
Little Brown Jug. I like the Little Brown Jug. I'll say 10 win.
10 win.
Yeah.
He's into that. I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah,
I
like
put that one in the barely bowl eligible.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
just a big old jug.
Yeah.
Next up, Cole. This one is Paul Bunyan's axe. This is one of my all-time favorites.
That's
to be
the
honest.
best so far.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that one at the very tippy top
Heisman Trophy list.
You got to
All
love
right.
the axe.
There's another one, Cole. Another link. We're only going to get to I think one of these. This one is the Okefenokee Ore, traded between the winner of Georgia and Florida. Did you even realize there was a trophy for that game?
No, I didn't.
The Okefenokee Ore. It's like a 10-foot tall ore that you would use to paddle a boat with.
Trying too hard.
Trying
way
too
too
hard.
hard. Yeah.
Okefenokee Ore. And I lied. There is one more. This one is between the winner of UAB and Memphis. It's just called the Bones, and it's cast iron rib bones, as in you love barbecue. You love barbecue ribs. This is cast iron ribs.
Sorry. No, trying too hard again. Not
too
a fan.
hard.
You got to do away with these silly goose trophies.
So I think more of them suck than are any good.
Yeah, I think so.
There's a few
What's
good
that
ones.
tell you?
The Golden Hat is good.
What's that tell you?
The Fremont Cannon is cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, most of them stink.
All right, Diesel, upset picks continue. We have a little audio blitz for you, and then we also asked the question, what are the most consequential games of Week 9? We asked that question next on the Fan Update. Upset Picks Challenge rolls on right here on the Fan Upstate. So good to be with you in hour number 4 of the show. He's Diesel, I'm Cole Bryson, and we are asking for upset picks. 844-326-3663. If you have not done so already, make sure you get your upset pick in. You're looking for an underdog to outright win the game this weekend. Go on ESPN.com, find the spread that you like, and text it in. You may have entered the challenge already and you've gotten slack. Well, guess what? There are a lot of you. We need to hear from you. We're calling you out, 844-FANFONE. It's the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. And also, if you have not participated yet, we're asking for your submissions. 844-FAN-PHONE. We got to get those numbers up, Diesel.
Shout out to Tolo Teresa, who just stopped by and said that her grandson plays for Mountain View Prep. So we got the grandmother of a future star. There's a lot of really good players,
and
over
they literally are stars. They're mascots.
That's true.
Wow,
and
look
we're
at you.
Wow, what a turn of phrase.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
And shout out Tolo Teresa. Good to
Love
see you. Upset picks continuing. We need to get those numbers up. 844-326-3663. Have a little mini audio blitz for you, Diesel, in this very segment. We've got a lot. We've got Lane Kiffin. We've got Mike Tomlin. I've got one audio clip just for Madcraft. In fact, when you're a Tolo that turns it on and leaves it on like Madcraft does on the stream, you're going to get made fun of sometimes, and this one's kind of making fun of him.
Is it Richard Simmons talking about positivity?
No, it's talking about grass.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And gosh darn it, people like me. That's Al Franken. That's not Richard Simmons. But, hey, it's about positivity.
It is. It is. This one's about grass and turf. Because, he's big on the turf stuff. We've got a little Shane Beamer, a little Hugh Freeze, talking to the Florida AD, Tom Allen, Ty Simpson. The list goes on and on. But, Diesel, let's start with Lane Kiffin. I teased this yesterday. Lane Kiffin talking about Brent Venables of Oklahoma and maybe a little sign stealing. So, what is Lane Kiffin talking about? He's talking about Brent Venables. He's talking about Brent Venables being good at stealing signs. Is there any truth to this, Diesel? Are we just making this up, or is Lane Kiffin right? I will tell you this. I don't think we've talked about this a ton on the air because it just hasn't come up. But I was at a public speaking engagement. This has been probably 2019, I would say, maybe early 2020. I was doing there was an event, Diesel, I'm not going to go into details, but I was doing like the MC for the event.
Okay.
And there were a couple of football players, past and present, also on the panel. I was coordinating it, emceeing it, and tossing it to the players on the panel. After the fact, after the event, I was talking to one of the players who went to Clemson. He played at Clemson. I know him well. And we were talking about Brent Venables and Dabo. This was prime Clemson, peak Clemson, right?
Okay.
And that former Clemson player who at the time played at Clemson told me that Brent Venables spends as much time working on sign stealing as he does anything else. Now, that is not necessarily illegal because, as I teased yesterday, when you're a great coach, you're great at every aspect of being the coach, right? Issue or non-issue, when you hear now, a few years later, it's just funny. Going back 4, 5, 6 years ago, that Clemson player told me that, and now I'm hearing Lane Kiffin talk about the same guy.
Well, it makes you wonder, why was all the focus on Connor Stallions and not on Brent Venables, right? I mean, it's interesting. And if it's in-game sign stealing, like you figure out their signals in-game, I don't have any problem with that at all. I mean, that's your job to be elite at disguising your signals in game. Uh, you haven't alleged, and Lane Kiffin did not allege that Brent was working in advance of the game weeks, to study film and to send people out to opponents' games the way that Connor Stallions did it. That hasn't necessarily been alleged. So if what you're telling me is Brent is just elite at figuring out tendencies quickly, I think that's like some beautiful mind type stuff. And
I think he's spending a lot of time during the week watching the signs come in, watching the plays call in. And I believe he's spending a lot of time during the week, Diesel, figuring out what the signals are so that when the game time comes, he knows what they're doing. That's what I believe. That's just again, if you're going to be a great coach, you have to be great at everything, right?
I mean, it's a part of the game, I guess. I don't know. I don't know, because then it tells me that you are. God, it tells me you're not really that good of a football coach, because if you're not spending your time coaching your players on how to stop certain things or be in the right position or recognize, what you're seeing on the field, if you're telling me that you can ignore that for essentially half the week and just know what the signal is and stop them, I don't know, man. It's a tough one to figure out.
Just saying. I'm just saying. I've been told that. I've been told that he spends just as much time studying signals as he does working on. It's fascinating. It really is. And to hear that in person, and then 5-6 years later, for me to hear that from Lane Kiffin, it just makes you go, "Wow, maybe that guy that told me that night wasn't lying to me."
Well, that would be, a pretty big allegation. It's not like he, is doing something illegal.
No, it's not illegal.
But it's a pretty big allegation for a sitting head coach to say that sitting head coach over there cheats.
And that's, I guess, that's where it comes down to. Is it cheating? Is it cheating? Do you consider it cheating to study film? Because I know it's done probably by a lot more coaches than Brent Venables, right?
What signs are they stealing at this point? I mean, I don't spend a lot of time when I'm watching a game or covering a game watching the sidelines and the signals being sent in, but all of this is being relayed through the green dot headset now. So I thought that was supposed to stop a lot of the sign stealing or prevent even the ability to steal signs, because there are far fewer signs to steal.
You would think that the green dot would eliminate a lot of that, right? So that's just fascinating audio, though, from Lane Kiffin. Here's the one from Madcraft. Mike Tomlin doesn't even cut his own grass. What is that? What context does that fit into? Here's Mike Tomlin. So he's asked about the playing surface, and I thought that would be good for Madcraft.
Did you happen to watch, and it's okay if you didn't, happen to watch Starsky and Hutch, the remake that had Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn and Snoop Dogg and all them in it?
Sure did not.
Well, in that movie, Snoop Dogg is an undercover agent, and he is watching the bad guys as they are playing golf, and he's wearing a wire. He's trying to catch them saying something incriminating,
right?
And he gives he gives the bad guy a little piece of advice on which club to play in a given situation, and he ends up hitting a great shot. And so Vince Vaughn says, "Wow, you know a lot about golf." And Snoop Dogg says, "Yeah, but I know even more about grass." Which is funny, because grass is another word for marijuana.
Yeah.
And Snoop Dogg is quite a fan.
No, surely not, right? I'm quite a fan, Diesel, of this quarterback. He has impressed me this season, and I am quite a fan of Ty Simpson. how quickly things have changed in Tuscaloosa from
Right?
losing to Florida State. And I was thinking, oh, Caitlin DeBoer is just not the right. I have a text on my phone from a former Alabama player who I reached out to, and he said, Diesel, this is not the guy. and now,
have you texted him back
no,
and said, "Hey, what do you think now? What would you say now?" God, if Kalen DeBoer is not, the poster child for twitchy fan bases who have their fingers on the trigger at all times, ready to fire a coach because they lost one big game or lost a game against a team that they shouldn't have lost against. I mean, going back to that Vandy loss, I know Alabama feels like they are just granted wins against Vanderbilt, but it turns out this Vanderbilt team really, really good and was not just a flash in the pan. Maybe that changes when Diego Pavia moves on. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? Maybe they really have elevated the program to the point that it is a respectable football program year after year and is not a laughing stock. But man, Kalen DeBoer, God, what if Kalen DeBoer, who had the supreme confidence in himself, knowing what he achieved at every stop he had achieved before he took the Alabama job, said, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm out. I'm not going to do this anymore. Like, pay me my buyout. I'll leave. I'll go. Just if you don't want me here, I'll go. And then he goes to like Auburn and starts, getting the SEC championship, beating Alabama, going to the playoff.
That's tough.
I mean, none of them will ever do it, right? It's all just a thought experiment. We all wish that one of them would say, well, you don't appreciate me? I'm gone. But
all right,
Saban,
Dabo.
Well, Nick Saban, exactly. Nick Saban used to say that, but he didn't leave immediately after he was saying you guys are all spoiled. He stayed for a long time, and he won a lot of football games. Dabo Swinney, he pulled the, well, if you don't appreciate me, I'm gone. And he hasn't left. So I would love to see one of them actually do it.
Hey, speaking of Dabo and Clemson, I found this audio that Tom Allen spoke yesterday to the media. I found this audio of Tom Allen fascinating when it comes to what Tom Allen wants and defensive football players, trying not to read too much into it. But you tell me, is he saying that he doesn't have these type of players? Here's Tom. I just don't know if Tom Allen is just saying that in generality or if Tom Allen's a little frustrated that he doesn't have guys that are fast and hungry guys that love the game.
Is he sending a message to his players
through
the media saying, hey, you guys are complacent. You guys are already checked out.
You got your money.
You got your money. You're thinking about your NFL careers in a little while, in a couple of years, or maybe next year, and you're lollygagging. You're lollygagging down to
You're
first.
loafing.
You're loafing.
That's what he calls it. Yeah. He literally calls it loafing. They have loaf plays. I talked to him about it when we were in Greenville at the coaches clinic. I talked to him about it, and he's one that's big on loafing. That's what he calls it, and he did a whole presentation on it. And I really don't try to read into too many things, but I do sense that Tom doesn't have the right kind of guys that he's looking for. What about the Florida athletic director? We have time for maybe one or two more pieces of audio here. The Florida AD, what they're looking for in Gainesville. Three.
Translation, I have called Ryan Day.
Not getting Ryan Day, not getting Dabo, not getting Kirby Smart, right? Those are the three. it's interesting. You want a guy, but there are only 3 out there who have done it. So we'll see. One more Beamer on the outside noise this season. Yeah, you are. You are, Shane. Unfortunately. So we'll see.
Hasn't Shane like clapped back at the media quite a bit, many times? Is he not starving his distractions?
Well, I just think he's a passionate guy and he's frustrated. I think you can tell by looking at him, he is super frustrated. So that is a little mini audio blitz for you, Tolos. And look, we'll continue to bring you some more audio throughout the week. But when there's so much audio, we have to bring it to you. You got to throw it right at you.
Yeah, we do.
Blitz, Bama Blitz. That's what Roll Tide Terry says.
Earlier, we had a fantastic conversation with Michael Duarte of NBC Los Angeles. Getting you going, man. We're a couple of days away from game 1 of the World Series. Friday night is when game 1 is going to be. How scared are the Dodgers supposed to be of the Blue Jays? Can they shake off the rust? We'll talk to Michael about it next.
Clear, but you got the live read coming up.